All right, we are here with the Moggridge brothers, Kurt and Jarred, and could be the ghost of Jarred. I don't know. So we start off with pretty much about half an hour of how much Jarred nearly killed himself.
Yeah, but it's an epic story about, a yacht going across the globe, basically.
If you liked Alan Roberts or John Elliott's story, this is on the same vein, but it's water-based.
Yeah.
Boys,
Life
what are we
and
talking about?
semi-death. Life and semi-death.
Yeah.
So
Pretty much me buying a yacht in Bahamas, sailing it back to Australia.
Yeah.
Kurt jumping along, helping us along the way, and
how much experience did you have?
I had 4 sailing lessons, and Kurt had 3. I pretty much went to the first one, and he said he'd jump on. So,
Straight into cyclone season. How good?
Yeah.
Hurricane season.
Yeah. And then
into cyclone. Yeah.
So it's got everything you could want in a adventure journey. We've got fishing, we've got cyclones, we've got near death, we've got random strangers, we've got injuries. It's an epic.
Yeah.
So shout out to Raunchy. We are going to be at Convenience on Friday, launching their new stout. So if you're keen to come
for St.
along,
Patrick's Day,
St. Patrick's Day, March 17th.
And we are in Exmouth in about a month. Was it? 18th and 19th
18th at Coral Bay, 19th in Exmouth.
Of April for the Eclipse. So if you want tickets, it's in our link tree.
Yeah.
They're selling pretty well.
And if you know anyone up there, let them know. And finally, we've got a fantasy footy and tipping league. So look for Hard Yarns League for the tipping, and fantasy footy. You can jump on our YouTube page and you'll see my brother and myself discussing our teams with the code.
Sick.
So there's prizes up for grabs, and let's get hard.
Let's get hard.
Stay hard.
Welcome to Hard Yarns Podcast.
I am fucking fat.
Anything Chris White says, please disregard it.
5D is actually a state of being. It's a unity consciousness.
That was Hard Yarns with me, Frankie Rose. So I'm going to throw it over to your co-host,
Daniel Delby.
And Cameron Brand.
I would do this and then I'd gong.
Free in attendance for the millions listening at home. Let's get hard.
Real low.
I still get a weird spot. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know if it's in my head, or if it's like, because the pain's been there forever, is it just there and my brain's saying it's there when it's not?
Yeah.
And as I'm walking out the MRI place, the scanner guy goes, oh, hang on, I need to check this bit, go back in the machine.
Yeah.
So the note that Jade wrote came back. I got a 7 mil bulge pushing on my fucking, on my nerve.
Just you know how
7
you
mil,
said
that's
about
like
that.
nearly a centimetre,
That's
man.
huge, yeah.
Yeah.
That about whether it's in your head and like the pain, and whether it's just like sort of like communicating and it's not there anymore, but it has.
Yeah.
I think why my car, I'm pretty sure this is what he said,
Bring that mic up. Yeah.
was opioid painkillers.
Yeah.
If you have it while you're injured, he's going to kill me because I'm going to get this wrong. But I'm pretty sure it's some type of painkillers. I'm pretty sure it was an opioid base. It actually locks in that pain, so you'll still feel it afterwards.
That's horrific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's something that does that anyway, some sort of painkillers.
I haven't had no opioids, just a fuckload of meth.
Feel good.
No, but I think that it's so, I didn't want the anti-inflams, but they do serve a purpose.
Yeah.
So when it is bad, I've got, I can't remember the name of them, Lyrica. I had Lyrica back then, which people take and abuse to get high off it. I never felt that.
Yeah.
But then prescription anti-inflams, it actually does settle it down so you can work out again.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people always message that listen to the pod going, how did you fix your back? It's not fixed. It's more like a maintenance thing now.
100%.
But my aim this year is I'm back at the gym, doing working out all around it.
Stretching?
Not really.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird. I'm hyper flexible, man. Like I can fucking put my finger down to the bottom of my toe, no problem.
Always.
So, yeah.
Really?
So lucky.
Yeah. So it's not.
Fuck.
It's
Yeah, I
weird.
know.
And you have back problems.
Yeah.
So no low like hamstring tightness.
No. But I'd always ping my hammies. But
So are you strong in your legs?
like I could fucking
Oh fuck.
Yeah, no.
like it's weird, bro.
So for the listeners, he's just on Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah. So and the weird thing was that when I went and saw my psych to get my ADD script, and there was that whole fuck around where my psych had left and then came
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
The new psych, he's like, I bet you that you're hyper flexible. I bet you that you wake up every 2 hours and something else. And I'm like, well, how do you know? He goes, well, whatever the fuck is, well, he was trying to get me to figure it out. I'm like, I'm paying you, cunt. You tell me. But it's some, he's like, so why do you think that is? I'm like, I don't know, bro. So there's some sort of section of my brain that's overactive, he reckons. And those 3 things are massive indicators of that. He goes, I bet, oh yeah, sweating. Like, he goes, I bet you.
I've seen you sweat.
I sweat so much, man.
He's the stereotype of a sweaty wog.
But I sweat when I'm nervous as well, and I sweat around, like, if I have a crush on a girl, I'll, like...
Really?
Yeah, bro.
Pheromones.
I get wet. I get wet.
I love it how you two don't know each other.
I'm pretty, like, good normally, and then for the last couple of years, been sweating, especially in this.
Yeah,
in the episode, at the end of this episode, I don't know, because you're concentrating maybe, or maybe you have to think more. I don't know, when I was sheet metal, I didn't have to think. But I fucking pear sweat. Today I'm actually pretty good. So it depends on what shirt I'm wearing. Like this one's looser. So, but
well, one of my mates got Botox injected in to stop himself from sweating.
What?
Yeah. I've heard of that stuff.
So now he's just going to overheat hard out.
Yeah. Well, he was like a super sweater, man. Like, they got Botox in his armpits. So.
Well, I was fucking sweating bullets yesterday. You were here. We were putting that fucking screen up there that you've got behind you, and then I was on the phone to my ex-wife, and we're talking about my daughter and just a few things. We're doing some tests and blah blah blah. And then as I was on the phone to her, I said, "Oh, anyway, I'm going to go pick her up soon, and I'll send her some photos and video."
Swing this far, mate. I think you're.
No, it's all good. It's all good. And as what was I saying then? So as I'm on the phone, and she's fucking saying, "What do you mean, like?" You're supposed to have picked her up like 5 minutes ago. School finished, and I was like, "Fuck!" So sitting, I'm looking. I was meant to pick Scotty up, and I was like, "Fuck!" And I had to piss, but I was like trying to call people who were there, and felt like the worst fucking dad ever. Poor Scotty's just sitting there looking out the window for her dad, like, "Where's Daddy?" And all the other parents have got her. And
man, that's nothing, eh? Our parents just leave us at school to get picked up for sometimes like an hour.
And there's no trauma.
Leaving the school, and they're like, "Is your mum coming?" We're going to lock the gates, boys. Well, we'll just wait out the front.
Well, I was fine now, and I now realise, but that's the first time I've ever missed a pickup, ever been late, and I just felt like the worst fucking dad ever. And then they were like, "No, man, this is like happens all the time. This is pretty common." And it was that one day where the days are different. There's an early finish. It's a 2:30 finish instead of 3 o'clock, and I was like, "Fuck! I'm in Osborne Park. There's peak hour traffic on the freeway. I'm not going to be there."
So to save coming to pick us up, Mum just bought us a bike.
You
boys know the way.
Well, the minute I can get Scotty to go ride home at pre-primary.
Oh, fuck, bro!
Pre-primary.
I'm so scared. Even that gives me anxiety. It's your kid. After seeing that dude in Doubleview, you guys see?
No.
There was a fella. Something Brophy. He lured a 9-year-old girl past his parents' house with a cheeseburger and got her inside and started, I can't remember, there was some form of sexual abuse. But the carer, because he's on the NDIS, he's got fetal alcohol syndrome, I think he had, and something else. And the carer seen him lead, and she's smashing on the door. And as he's opened the door, the kids ran out, and then they've arrested him for all the fucked up shit he did. And he went to jail last week, and then the inmates murdered him.
The kid's carer.
Really?
He's dead now.
The kid's carer saw him.
No, his carer.
Oh, his carer.
Yeah. So
Just happened to be there.
So what do you mean?
And this is in Scarborough, man. This is Doubleview.
What do you mean carer? Like he had
when you're an
something-
NDIS, if you're on
so
if you like what Tarbo and Bruno do, like a disability carer.
He was disabled in.
Well, I think he had fetal alcohol syndrome, from memory.
What's it? Oh, okay.
And something else, potentially bipolar or some sort of something wrong. I can't remember. But then he went to jail, and he asked to keep him in jail because he couldn't trust himself.
Yeah, right.
But he's dead now. He got murdered by they don't know, by
people.
inmates, yeah.
Jesus.
Found dead in his cell, been bashed. So that shit gives me anxiety, man. She got led past her parents' house, like straight past the parents' house, and she was just walking the dog.
I'm never letting Scotty go out of my sight ever again.
I wouldn't do it until the kids are like year 7, year 6, year 7.
Like we used to ride to school together.
Yeah.
And I was year 3.
Yeah.
Like at school, year 3.
Pretty young.
He was like 2 years older.
That's just because Mum didn't want to pick us up.
Yeah. How far away was school?
It was like maybe like 2 kilometers or something like that. It was fairly close. But it was through 2 parks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I feel bad. You're gonna have to lean forward the whole time.
Or
he's got the good.
Hold it.
My back's good.
Yeah.
You can hold it if that's better. It's up to you.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
Look at him, he's fucking stuck now.
So we'll kick off like the reason we got in. Speaking of school, I met you through Joel Kelly. I was Wanneroo. You guys were Marta Day.
Yeah.
Are you Marta Day boys?
Yeah.
So you guys, they know Luke Ted and
Luke Tedesco.
Oh, I know the name.
Andrew Strike.
He was a different year, eh?
Yeah.
I know the name.
You're above,
I think he's the older. Yeah.
Okay. Andrew Strike.
No.
They're in between us.
It's all right. It's just a player who went to your school that played AFL football, but
I don't watch sport. Eh?
Yeah.
Oh, sick. Okay.
And we met through Joel Kelly, and we'll start our first killer story off.
Almost.
So we had
almost killer story.
Yeah. We had Joel Kelly on the pod, but I think episode 4 or 5.
Oh,
and it fucked up.
Yeah, it was when we were first testing.
House.
We were first testing with like recording and doing
Live
audio,
stream.
and it turned off halfway through, and it was fun. It was a great episode, but we didn't release it because only like 25 minutes of it recorded.
Yeah.
And, but he did mention something about blackout,
Shallow water blackout.
Shallow water blackout.
So, do you want to tell our listeners that don't know what it is, and then what happened?
So shallow water blackout is free diving, and then lack of oxygen underwater because you're holding your breath. You don't have a scuba tank or anything like that. You pretty much, as you're coming back up to the surface, it's generally in the last 5 meters, you just black out. The basics of what it is.
Coming up too quickly.
No, it's nothing like that. It's pretty much lack of oxygen. So because you don't have to, with free diving, you don't have compressed air. So you don't have the nitrogen in your blood. So if you come up too quick, the nitrogen expands too fast and it can't get rid of it. Okay. So that's diving with air. And then free diving, there's none of that. So it's just you're just holding your breath.
And because it's almost like hyperventilating over time. Has that got anything to do with it?
That's
or is it
bad
change
form.
of pressure?
Nah, hyperventilating over time. It's sort of like miss signals to your brain and you think you got more oxygen than you do. I'm pretty sure that's how it happens. But it's bad technique to hyperventilate to free dive.
Yeah.
My problem was when I blacked out is I didn't have a watch. Joel Kelly was a dive buddy. We were just off 3 Mile Reef here.
Bring that closer, yeah, you can move it. Yeah,
I'll try to do that. Yeah. Off 3 Mile, and we weren't together. Like we weren't diving together, which is like a big no. But it was only like
First thing, always have a dive buddy.
But even you're both supposed to be in the water.
You're
at the same
both
time.
literally meant to be on top of each other, like diving. One dives while the other one's like rebreathing from his dive.
Oh yeah.
And then they come up, and then you go down. Like it's literally meant to be you're watching.
What
the
if
other guy
you
the whole
both
time.
shallow water blackout at the same time?
Well, you can't.
Oh fuck!
You can't?
Yeah, you can't because the other person's on top.
Yeah.
Waiting for the other person to come up.
Yeah.
And then once the other person comes up, then you start your breather.
Yeah.
So it gives him enough time to sort of come to. He's not going to black out.
Yeah.
Or anything like. Because even once you make it to the top and breathe air, you can still black out.
Yeah.
Like if you push yourself too hard, you can still black out. And like chasing fish, like free diving versus spear fishing, like you can get distracted and chase fish and go too deep or go too long. Or even if you're fighting a fish underwater, you burn more oxygen and stuff
So
like that.
and that's what you're doing it for, to fish, catfish?
Yeah, so spear fishing, this time we're crayfishing. So I didn't have my dive watch on, and then I didn't know the big thing is surface time versus dive time. So you got to double your dive time for your surface time in between dives. So if you dive for 1 minute, you've got to at least spend a minimum 2 minutes on the surface breathing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just build up carbon dioxide in your body.
Fuck.
Yeah, and then when you dive again,
Bit more to it than just
So scientific, eh?
so many
just
people dive
diving down
from the
underwater.
same-
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
so-
the bogans are hell smart.
yeah, so like the biggest thing is go to a course, Like if you're going to get into free diving, it's gotten pretty popular these days, like young bloods and all that sort of stuff, and YouTube, everyone's keen to do it.
Yeah.
Just go to a course, If your kids are looking at doing it, go to a course, because there's all this little stuff that makes the biggest difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even Squirrely said he almost had it up. And he's super experienced.
In Exmouth, because it's not far. It's not deep there, is it? It's only like fucking 2 or 3 meters, some of it. So.
Well, we were super complacent. Well, max it was like 10 meters, and for us that's sort of like it's not
pretty
standard. It's pretty standard. We're not pushing ourselves. We can get up there and down, but I was like diving this, trying to get a cray. And I'd probably the 3rd or 4th time trying to get down to get it. It's one cray, and pretty much out on the boat. And I looked up right before I did this dive to see where it was, see where I could see him. Obviously, he wasn't doing the right. Well, we weren't doing the right thing in dive buddies, and he was like hundreds of meters off, like 100 to 200 meters just in the distance. I just saw his head snorkel bobbing, and I was like, "Sweet, he's there."
Yeah.
And I went down.
How did he see where you was? He looking at you?
No, he wasn't looking at me. He was just diving. I just saw his snorkel, sort of like he was looking for crays where he was looking for crays.
Yeah.
And I went down to get the cray for like the 4th time attempt, and I was like struggling with it, but then I got it. The last thing I remember is I looped the cray, I pulled out of the hole, kicked off the ground, black.
Fuck.
Darkness. I don't
from
remember.
From 10 meters down or 5?
Yeah, 10.
Yeah,
about
right.
10, yeah. And so at this time, Kelly, once I'd pretty much seen him, he must have just happened to turn and start swimming towards me. He must have seen me too where I was, roughly. And he started swimming towards me because he wanted to move spots. He was having no luck with the crays, So the only reason why he came back was he just wanted to move spots, and I was down while he was swimming back.
Yeah.
And he just happened to be like swimming back towards me as I was coming up, and he saw me coming up, and he said I was like halfway up. I was kicking real slow, just like I think it was like muscle memory sort of stuff. Like I was out, and then I dropped the cray loop with the cray in it halfway up. And then pretty much as I got to the surface, he was like from me to Kurt away. He said he could see my eyes.
Yeah, right.
And my eyes just breached the water. My nose didn't come out anything like that. He went to speak. Let's change spots.
Yeah.
He saw my eyes roll back in my head, go backwards, and just start sinking.
Fuck, that's scary as
Yeah,
fuck.
scary for him. I was unconscious.
So what are you doing? Like, do you have flippers on? And
Yeah. Flippers and dive bell. Like you shouldn't do that as well. Like you shouldn't sink when you're that close to the surface.
Yeah.
But when I cray dive as well, like it was light, I like to be a little bit extra weighted.
Yeah.
So you don't move around as much,
Yeah.
and then because otherwise to keep still when down in like shallower sort of water, I sometimes have to breathe out air, which I don't want to do. You know what I mean? So I kind of prefer to be a little bit extra weighted.
And is that frowned against?
Probably, yeah. Yeah. But again, I did a free diving course at NIA, which wasn't targeted for spearfishing and free diving, where I actually want to do it again, do that sort of thing with those types of people.
Yeah.
But I started sinking, and he was pretty wrecked from swimming all the way across. So
Lucky he's a strong swimmer, man.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
You're like exactly right. Because we talk about this a bit about, they say always dive with someone.
Yeah.
But you got to dive with someone competent, otherwise they're useless. You might as well just be on your own. So you could take out someone that hasn't been spearfishing, and he's like, he's going to be there, but he's not going to help you.
Yeah, fuck no.
Like, they don't know how to start the boat, or Anyway, he dived down. I think I was almost about halfway down before he grabbed me, right? And I'm a little bit bigger than him, so then he was exhausted, pretty much out of breath, and he was trying to swim me to the surface. He did dump my weight belt.
That'd be so scary. That's so smart as well.
And then he said
you'd be angry. Like, fuck, that cost a bit of money, eh?
We went halves in the boat. He keep it. So he pretty much said that I only just got you to the surface. I nearly had to let go of you.
Yeah.
And go to the surface, breathe up again.
And then come back down.
But then he would have had to pick me up from the ground, like a limp body from the ground. But from the ocean floor. So he got me to the top, and then he was just like yelling. He said he was yelling at me and stuff like that. And then I was still non-responsive. And then my face started to go blue. So usually when you bring someone from a shallow water blackout, once you get them to the top, blow on their face, they'll come to just natural responses. Their face knows that you got air.
If
there
someone
now.
comes on my face, someone blows on my face, I'll come to.
Never had it. Can't say. But what another mess up that I did was I dove with my snorkel in my mouth, just complacent.
Yeah.
And what that does when you black out, normally your mouth will shut because you're underwater and stop all the water going in. Because I had my snorkeled in, it just filled in, funneled, kept my mouth open, throat open into my lungs and stuff like that. So I was like, next. It wasn't just shallow back out. I had water in my lungs.
This is like Final Destination. Like everything that can go wrong is going wrong.
Yeah.
Death's coming, man.
Dude, I've knocked it back that many times.
Yeah,
it's just another story on my list.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty much I was like started to go blue, all that sort of stuff, and then he started. The funny thing is, he works for Chevron.
Yeah.
And so this was like a Monday, and the week before, or the weekend or something like that. The whole week before that, he was doing first aid in the city with Chevron, doing CPR and everything like that.
That's insane.
Yeah, insane. So then he started doing, and he used to do surf club as well, so he knew how to apply that in the water.
Fuck.
So he was doing.
What are the chances?
I know.
Yeah.
I had this exact thought the other day. Like I've seen someone fall over, and lucky there was someone there looking after him. They were all good, and I was like, I'd have no idea what to do right now. Like maybe I should get my first aid.
Yeah. Should.
And then even fucking 3 years later, you'd probably go, I can't remember it.
Yeah.
So the fact that it was like only just before, that's incredible.
Yeah. So he started doing it in the water, and he was doing, and we were still like maybe 100 meters from the boat.
Yeah.
So he was like holding me in the surf life-saving recovery position where I'm in front of his chest, and he's keeping my head above the water, like pistol grip on the chin and all that sort of stuff. And then he was pretty much giving me 2 breaths, doing 2 kicks, and then thumping my chest.
Fuck.
2 breaths, 2 kicks, thumping my chest, 2 breaths, all the way back to the boat. I was non-responsive the whole time. The first thing I remember, it was pretty much at the boat, right, is him like yelling my name.
Yeah.
Like just like it's just so deep
out?
in my it was like real panic, like yelling my name, and it's just like real like gets me to this day because just the way he's yelling, it was like panic and just like and first thing I remember was that. And then I pretty much just like, as soon as I come to, just like roll over and put both hands in front of my face and just vomit this like bright red bloody foam, just like straight out of my lungs.
Yeah.
And then like, luckily we were at the back of the boat, and I just like grabbed the back of the boat and I'm just hanging on to that, and he's swimming around with his head on his head, going, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? I had no idea what happened at this stage. Like, still no idea. So like, I like climb up on the boat, and he's still going like, what the fuck in the water? And then I'm like, oh, dude, I lost my dive belt and spear gun. Can you just go grab it? And he's swimming up going, I thought I was bringing back a body, like all this sort of shit. And I was still not quite clue. I thought I just sort of like passed out a little bit, like shallow water almost. And he just like lifted me and held me to the surface. I had no idea that.
Yeah.
I think we worked out that roughly 5 minutes have passed, that I was like dead basically.
Wow.
And it wasn't until he was coming back with all my shit.
What? So he just was like, yeah, no worries, I get it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Did you get it? But you got on the boat?
I was on the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was standing on the boat, like just like trying to get my ass shit.
Were you angry? Because you know how sometimes people get mad after a blackout?
No, I wasn't at all. Right? I wasn't. But it wasn't really coming back. And I was like, dude, I don't feel so good. He was like, you were dead. You were dead. Like, I thought I was bringing back a body to shore, and like I didn't even know or if I could have got you onto the boat, as like, because obviously it's a like high side boat and you're in the water. Yeah. How the hell I'm bigger than him? How does he get me into the boat to then get me to shore to get help and all that sort of stuff? But yeah,
fuck.
And then this is the next level of the story. So I messaged my girlfriend at that time to come pick me up, and pretty much I broke up with her that day as well. Like afterwards.
Before or
just
after?
Just after. Like,
How to getting out of hospital.
Yeah. So I went.
Is that because like you're like, I nearly died, I'm doing the wrong thing, I need to be single?
No.
It wasn't like an epiphany?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. But
I'm wasting my life with you.
No, she was a nice girl.
Yeah.
Just things weren't working out.
Yeah.
Just sort of, anyway.
Or Joel was a better kisser.
Likely I don't remember that.
Yeah.
He's kissed a dude, not me.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, and once I got to the hospital, I was super lucky. Like, it took so long to explain to the chick behind the counter, like at the emergency department, what had actually happened. She was like, well, so what made you think you passed out? Like, I know. And I was like, I was underwater unconscious, had to be resuscitated. It literally took like minutes for me to convey what actually happened. Wow. Then I could see her face just change. She's like, why didn't you call an ambulance? And I was like, I feel all right, you know.
It's in a boat.
Yeah. And then
I'm in a boat.
The doctor that I had in emergency used to be a Navy diver doctor.
Oh, wow.
So he was like all over it straight away. And he's like, from that bright foam blood, it sounds like you've popped blood vessels in your lungs.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
And then he's like, you could have pockets of air trapped in your body. So like you should not be walking. Like you got to, I had to like lay, not move at all for hours with like legs raised.
Is not nothing to do with the bends? It's different?
Yeah, different. Yeah, different.
Because it's nitrogen bubbles,
yeah, it's nitrogen
and yours
bubbles.
is now just
could be in pockets inside me, just of air, and then it gets into your bloodstream. It could collapse at any moment.
Yeah.
So you said you're either going to walk out of here fine in a couple of hours, or there's a good chance you're not going to survive.
What?
Yeah.
No, hang on. Hey, we need to break up. Fuck.
Yeah. So ended up being fine, and I walked out. Yeah,
that's insane.
But yeah, pretty much.
What are you thinking, man? You're like just lying there, either waiting for death,
or
waiting for life.
I was pretty relaxed, and the problem was I was joking around with one of the nurses, and my girlfriend at the time was there and didn't like it.
Yeah. It was joking code for flirting? Or
no, not at all. She was putting like life monitors on me. And like obviously had a shirt off, and then she was putting life monitors on me, and I was just chatting to her, like literally just joking around general shit.
Yeah.
Girlfriend at the time didn't like it, and I was like, I don't know whether I'm going to live or die, and you're worried about this shit. And
Yeah.
We'd already been having a bit of trouble, so yeah, that was the end.
Right. Did you have any epiphanies, or were you just like, whatever's going to happen is going to happen?
Yeah, whatever's going to happen sort of shit, eh? Like,
that's so fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
Did that? Because is that the first life-changing sort of like life-threatening moment you ever had, or
nah?
No, that wasn't the that because
as his big brother, how are you feeling when you hear this? That's fucked, man. I'll be freaking.
So I didn't hear about it. We were living at the same. I'd moved back to mum and dad's at this stage.
Closer.
And I come back home from work at the time, and it just looked like the house, like there was, I don't know what it was. There's something weird about it. I just had this feeling something's wrong. So I tried calling him, and I can't. Oh, that's right. I got hold of him, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I just got back from work. Are you all right? And he goes, "Oh, can you come pick me up?" I was like, "Yeah, no worries. Where are you?" He goes, "I won't use her name. I just broke up with her. I'm walking home. I drowned. But I need you to come pick me up." I was like, "Send me a..." He goes, "But I don't know where I am." And I was like, "Send me a pin drop."
Yeah,
I'm coming. He wasn't good.
A pin drop?
I was like, trying to be like thinking quick. I was like, I've got to go and get him.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Send me a pin drop. I'm on my way."
Yeah.
So I run out and pick him up, and he's standing on the side of the road like looking around all lost. And I was like, "What the fuck happened?" He said you're almost drowned. He's like, got his hospital band still on and shit. I'm like, what happened?
Because those sorts of like near-death experiences sometimes create that, like that thirst for life and like live for the day, seize the day, or just change your direction. Like, is that what happened, or you just kept on, or you always been?
I've
like
always sort of been like that, I reckon. We're all adventurous and outdoors, and always getting after it. And not worrying about the risks or anything like that. Yeah. Or not worrying about them, but just sometimes not thinking about it at the time, thinking about them and just not caring about it.
Yeah.
Definitely in the 20s.
But has that changed a bit now? You always dive?
Well, I say that, but literally as I was prepping for the boat, I had a car accident, hit a tree at 110 down south.
That's right.
Fell asleep, rolled his car 5 times, and then crawled through the window, and all I got was a torn ligament in my foot.
Talk us through that. So, hang on. This is Final Destination. Honestly, man. This is Final Destination.
I need you out of this studio. I'm just looking at fucking electricity, or there was people walking down a roof yesterday.
But I've had like motorbike accidents. I've like nicked my femoral artery and my leg nearly bled out. Like, yeah.
Let's probably the first one.
That was probably the first one. Yeah, I think so.
What was that all about?
Lancelin. I was on quad bike, hit a dune way too fast.
Yeah.
And I'd been working up the dune, and pretty much I took a bit. It was like a monstrous dune. I hit it in like, I think I was going about 100 k's again. Like hit like power band in 4th gear, and then like launched. And I took another like route, like up the steeper part of the dune.
Yeah.
But where I came down was like another, just like a small dune, like waist height, and I just went straight down into it like that, just dead into it. And then like the handlebars went across my groin there, and pretty much like I got a tear, like I took a chunk out above my dick, and it teardrops around my dick, and then we chopped it off, and then like down.
Nearly chopped off your dick.
Yeah, dude. It was like.
You nearly died as well, but fucking like.
I know. I was always like, I
You
just
might
get
as
it.
well be dead.
Yeah.
If you did, yeah.
I know, it's 2023. You could probably fucking win Woman of the Year.
Oh,
like
Biden just did it.
I came to, and I remember looking down, and I actually was coming back from a broken hand at the time. So I was all wrapped up, and I was in shorts, and I saw blood literally squirting out the bottom of my shorts, and then I passed out again. And then the next time I come to, there's like a crowd. Oh no, the next time I come to, there was a guy. He must have just seen me because I was in a divot too. Like no one would have seen me, so it's not a good spot to be. But he must have seen me just go in and not come out.
Yeah.
So then he walk up to me. I just thought I was winded, sort of when I came to again. I was like pain and winded. He goes, "Oh, dude, you're real messed up. Like, I'm going to get help. Don't move."
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Oh, I'm just winded." But then I looked down. And blood again, and all that sort of stuff. Then I go unconscious again, and then I come back to. There's like a crowd of people around me. My mates had a ute, and they put a towel under me, lifted me back into the ute, and then went to the hospital. And like,
Did they tie it off or anything?
No, they didn't. I just had like, because my hand was like bandaged, I just pressed that against it and was trying to keep that. And then, the ute was stained with blood. Like there was blood running out the back of the ute and down. Like
like a horror scene.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
Fuck.
But yeah,
nice.
ended up being fine from that. Couldn't walk for a couple of weeks and bounced back all right, eh?
Fucking hell, man. I'd be stressing being the big brother. If that was Jamie or Chris, like.
My mum. Think of my mum. Yeah, it's rough, eh?
Yeah, fuck. So what happened when you were driving back from down south? You just were tired?
I was tired. It was my first...
you lost a lot of blood from
I'd just been to the first bush doof, like checking it out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't get enough sleep. Like I slept for like maybe an hour in the swag sort of thing. And then I was like, it's getting hot. And I couldn't sleep. So I was like, I got like a sort of donga that I built down there, like a sea container home in Margaret River.
Oh, cool.
So I was like, it's like 30, 40 minutes home. I'll just get up and I'll just keep sleeping there. Like, I was driving by myself, like no sleep. It was like 8:30, 9:30 in the morning, something like that. And warm cab, just started to get warm.
Yeah.
Super tired. And just cruise control.
Not his car.
Back.
Not
It was Kurt's car.
Fuck.
Which thank God, because it was a ute with a roll bar.
Nice.
And like full like inflatable curtain airbags and stuff.
Oh, really?
Like that. Yeah.
Like around the whole...
Everything. Like I was just engulfed by airbags.
Was it insured?
It was, thank God.
Okay.
He made money out of it. I did him a favour.
Allegedly.
So does that change things as well? Because like driving tired is obviously something we talk about a lot. Like in it's always the message on the roads. Like, and you don't take it seriously.
Yeah.
No, but it's
Like
real.
it's fucking
It's
like
real.
my housemate died in a car accident.
Really?
Fell asleep at the wheel.
Jesus.
But I've done it before so many times where I'm like, I'll get home. I'll be able to do it. It's fine. I drove home from fucking Dunsborough 3 or 4 times the year before after filming Wedding all day at like 12 o'clock at night, get home at 3 in the morning. I'm like, that's the stupidest fucking thing I've done. One of your best mates died in a car accident. What are you fucking doing? Like, but
That's
you
part
don't
of-
think of it at the time. You're like, I can do it.
Yeah,
And
I'll be
that's-
fine.
It's almost like part of that masculinity, like ego. Like, I'm going to stay awake through this.
I reckon it's laziness.
Yeah.
Laziness?
I reckon it's more laziness because you're like, I just want to get home.
Yeah, exactly.
It's,
Yeah.
I just want to be there. Like, I don't want to wake up here and have to drive tomorrow. Like, I just want to get there now, sort of thing. It's convenient for me to just do this now and just push through. But
The only time I've ever noticed an increase in like awareness and being like, I'll have a coffee and it felt good was one of those nights where I was like double black, no milk, just fucking thing. And like within 10 minutes, I was like, I actually feel this. This is fucking good. Like that's the only time. Other than that, I've like never noticed a Red Bull. Nothing's helped. So it's just one of those things.
My go-to, I drive heaps of surfing. I surf like up and down the coast. I'm always driving.
Yeah. Coffee?
And coffee is good, but I find coffee sometimes keeps me up once I get there.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll have a V. Like I don't drink any. I hate it. I hate taking all that energy drink stuff.
Yeah.
But I'll have a V or a coffee or something.
I think the Red Bulls, like, I think you still drink them from time to time, eh? Is it you or someone?
Before footy.
I fucking can't
Only
stand it.
before
Like, it just
40.
reminds me of Bar 120. Like, I used to drink fucking 10 Red Bull vodkas and then, like, I hate it.
Well, I learned the other day that coffee, it doesn't actually give you energy. It staves off the sleep
Yes.
hormone or whatever
Yeah,
it is,
exactly.
or chemical.
But I thought all those energy drinks and coffee as well isn't actually good for exercise because it doesn't. Your heart rate will always be elevated,
Yeah.
and then it won't like when you want to recover, it'll still be elevated. Sort of
Yeah.
thing. So I sort of thought that it wasn't the best. Like you'll feel energized,
Yeah.
same sort of shit.
Yeah.
You don't have any more energy.
Yeah.
I don't know. You don't have any more energy ready to burn. You just feel more energized, but then your heart won't fluctuate in sort of recovery mode and stuff like that. So when you do get a second to like breathe up in between plays, you
Yeah.
Well, that's it's serendipitous because next week we've got the Corey Greens coming on, and one of the topics one of the subjects that has been asked to be covered is coffee.
Yeah, nice.
Coffee, water,
And we might as well
seed
throw in
oils,
energy drinks as well.
and energy drinks. Yeah, so we'll talk about that in more in depth next week.
Did you
But
black
it is
out?
fucked.
So you fall asleep, you crash.
Yeah.
Mid-crash, you're like, I'm crashing. Or did you not?
Nah, do you know, so I was asleep. I heard the gravel noise.
You're never conscious for all this. Just like, everyone else deal with it.
Yeah. So I heard the sound of gravel, and I'd actually gone into the oncoming traffic side of the road.
Oh, that gives me the heebie-jeebies.
It was like a back country road, thank God.
Yeah.
Went onto the oncoming side, and then as I was going off the road, obviously I didn't even have time to open my eyes. Just gravel going off the road was my mental thought, and then whack, just straight into a tree. And it hit like the wheel arch, my side. Mm-hmm. If I had it dead on, like I would have been so much more messed up. But yeah, hit the wheel arch my side and caved the footwell up into my foot. And that's where I got the foot injury. But then I heard the gravel, hit the tree, and as I'm in the air, I'm like, how can I get out of this? That was my thought process. I was what can I do to get out of this? And then just rolling, and I was like, nah.
So you just hold in, like you just...
Yeah, I was just like, literally just limp, basically. Like it happened so quick, I didn't quite have time to like react or tense. That was my literally only thought process because I knew it was his car. And I was like, how can I get out of this? Like,
He's not talking about how he can get actually out of the car. He's like, how can I get out of telling Kurt?
Have you seen the rally drivers when they crash and how calm they are? Like, and they fucking fly off. And I've seen this video literally 2 or 3 days ago. The rally cars drive, and they just sort of sit there and they're fucking, mate, fucking going everywhere. And they're just like, okay. Literally, that was their reaction. Okay, made a mistake. And they just go on to the next one.
I guess they've got like harnesses and cages.
They're
Jared just had a
full,
seatbelt.
You're in a car with fucking a couple of airbags.
I know.
And Red Bull
what?
giving you wings. Literally.
Well, you know what an airbag doesn't stop? A fucking shard of metal going through your heart.
I know.
So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
tree.
the thing that surprised me the most about that is I ended up upside down on the road. I was like sliding upside down.
Okay.
Came still, and then I was like, I'll just get myself out. Like, clip the seatbelt, and I'll just like crawl out and it'd be fine. But it was like, I was there for like a good amount of time, and like not a weak dude. Like chicks, I reckon, not stereotyping here, but like upper body strength and stuff like that. I had one hand on the roof, trying to lift my whole body weight up, trying to get that weight off the seatbelt and trying to unclip it.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't easy.
just for
a
that,
handstand almost.
Yeah. So like to get, if you're upside
Glass
down
everywhere and stuff, I guess. And
exactly. I didn't cut myself, but there was glass everywhere. And it was like, it was a mission. That was like the thing that surprised me the most was like actually trying to get out of the seatbelt. Like once the ordeal was over, and all you can smell.
Because if you get stuck upside down, you pass out from all the blood going to your head as
eventually
well.
you could, yeah.
You're going to say you can smell petrol?
It was diesel, but that shit's playing on your head about fire and all that
100%.
smell. Like,
yeah.
So then, pretty much eventually got out of it, crawled through the passenger window. And as I was crawling through the window, there was a guy in front of me. He turned around and he just rocked up as I'm crawling through the window. And he's like, "Oh, you all right?" And it just happened to be, there was a wedding in the field the night before, right where it was. And they were packing up. So there was people that just watched the whole thing. And then one of them came around and she was the one that took me to hospital.
Wow.
And then, got to hospital. And the cops, were on scene. They radioed ahead saying pretty much, I think they were calling Kurt and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they radioed ahead saying that...
corpse on the way.
Yeah, pretty much, They thought I was going to be dead from the car accident.
Yeah.
They were looking in the trees and the fields.
What's that movie? 4 Weddings and a Funeral? Like a wedding and a funeral.
Yeah, but the cops can't even talk to you at all until emergency staff are senior. So they're sitting on the other side, twiddling their thumbs, reckon they got a DD or something like that on their hands.
Yeah.
But I was obviously, I hadn't. But as soon as they could, they breathalyzed me, and I was 0-0, and I was like, thank God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the last thing, even just for myself, just to know that, I wasn't, taking the piss or anything like that too much. I was tired, but...
What an intense start to the pod, eh? A few death experiences.
Jesus.
Fucking hell. All right. So,
This has been my life. So that drowning one's probably the worst one for me to hear.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably the closest that we've come to actually losing him, probably.
Yeah. Have you done any dumb shit? Have you have you almost died, or are you just...
No. But I'm a bit more educated in...
He talks so much shit too.
I like to think that I'm assessing the things that I'm
danger.
doing and prevent them a little bit more. I'm not saying that I'm perfect or...
You can smell the shit.
Spot the hazard, assess the risk, make the changes. Think safe, Sam.
Glenn Jakovic made a difference.
Yeah. Well, I mean, surely there'll be something on this trip around. So,
The reason
I invited you on, because it sounded fucking cool. You bought a yacht. Is it a yacht?
Yeah, catamaran.
It's a yacht. It's a yacht. It's a yacht.
So, Branch is
Yacht.
of the opinion that it's pretty standard for people to sail across the world in a catamaran.
Yes.
Is that right or wrong?
Well,
Maybe not. Yeah.
I haven't. Yeah, thanks, dude.
From what I heard from everyone that I've spoke to in your circle is that it's fucking insane to have 3 lessons, pick up a yacht.
Four. I had 4 here, 3, but yeah, let's get that right.
Yeah.
That's the certification I've got in getting the yacht around.
And is that normal? Is that dumb? Is that...
Nah, no way.
So is it balls or stupidity?
or
just
column, eh?
Depends who you speak to, eh?
Like that sense of adventure.
I made it, so it's ballsy.
Yeah.
If I had to get rescued, they'd call me stupid. That's the difference, eh?
Because I love that idea of like doing things that people say you can't do.
Yeah.
I like to do with a run and stuff, like lack of prep. But that one does sound like if you get stuck in the middle of an ocean, you're going to have to get people fucking saving you, and like it could be expensive on people.
Yeah, I think, Kurt, you were saying it's normal for people to get a yacht and just go up and down the coast maybe, but not in between continents.
Yeah, so like most people will start in like the little 13-foot, I don't know, with the yacht club in the river.
Yeah.
Or just out the front of Hillary's or something. And it takes them a while to learn that, and then they develop into bigger ones and they slowly get into it. But we sort of went the other way and thought, fuck it, we'll just buy this big one and
sail
try
it
to do
home.
it halfway around the world.
I'll show you a photo of it, Branch. So how did
you get the yacht? Like, how did you afford the yacht? Or like,
because they're notoriously cheap, aren't they?
Yes.
Oh, super cheap. Super cheap.
Super cheap, Ildo.
It's just like bargains galore. Hey, nah. Yeah, so it was like
glorious.
I got told a bit of advice by another sailor like back in the day. They said, whatever you want, save for it. Don't get something intermediate along the way, because it's going to cost you and drain all your money to again get the thing that you want. So I sort of held back until I could buy that thing. Like it was a 45-foot lagoon.
Yeah.
With the flybridge model and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much what I wanted from stay dot. It's been like a 10, 15 year dream of mine. Like it wasn't like a last minute thing at all. Just the lessons were.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much probably the key factor in getting it was we both and one of our mates got us onto this share. It was like a VGW, like virtual gaming world.
Yeah.
And then he's a Perth guy. He's like Australia's newest billionaire sort of thing.
Yeah.
So we invested in that from right from the get go, like one of the initial investors.
So good.
Yeah, which is like sort of looking back on it, it's sort of like super risky. Super risky. Like the business nearly went under so many times.
You don't like risk, so
yeah. Yeah. So then pretty much that paid off. Like it was like almost like, I think it was like 3 to 5 years it took, like just put our money in, didn't obviously updates and following it and stuff like that, but didn't see anything back from it for about 5 years. And then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And no one could go to the casinos because it's out of like Canada, North
Probably
America.
longer. It's probably about 8 years.
Yeah.
Right.
So then no one could go to the casinos, so they went online, and then so all of a sudden they started getting all this business online and stuff like that.
So good. How good are pandemics?
yeah, wow, that's fucking
all that
perfect
government
timing,
intervention is
serendipitous.
awesome, eh?
Yeah.
So pretty much that started paying dividends. So we started getting dividends from that investment, and that was sort of the catalyst, basically.
Sick.
This sort of
Catalyst for the catamaran.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Exactly. And the accountant sort of said you need to start buy business assets. So I bought the cat through a business.
Yeah.
Had and like it's literally about to be going to charter. I left it in Ely Beach.
Oh, cool.
With
So what,
Sundays
you
and
can
stuff
rent
like
that out as like a
Yeah.
charter catamaran to go
Yeah,
between.
so it's with a charter company,
Yeah.
and then people go and hire it over there.
Wicked.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
cool.
sick.
Australian,
That's smart.
Australian yacht charters.
Well, if it keeps going well, we're looking for a sponsor.
That's fucking smart though. Like not just investing in it in like
Yeah.
a like for your own, because then you've got it for yourself. But then just
So I can go use it whenever I want. Basically, I think I can book it out like 4 weeks a year. They sort of said book it out, but if it's not being used, like I can go across and use it.
Yeah,
And,
cool.
I get to surf the Great Barrier Reef and then sail the Whit Sundays and stuff like that. And go to Ely Beach.
And was this your idea and you've jumped on board, like to just
Pretty much, yeah.
help out?
Yeah.
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 Had some time off work and he does dumb shit.
Yeah.
So I like to think, he'll argue at Black and Blue, but I'd put some... what's the
Logic
best
and
way?
reasoning.
Put some
Yeah.
logic and reasoning behind some of
some
his
scaffolding.
decisions. Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll have the drive to do this, and I'm like, all right, that's sweet, but maybe we need to think about that and that on the way. And
That's
yeah.
actually Delby for us of all things. Like I'll go, yep, we're gonna do this. It's fucking. I've just quit my job basically, and he's like, maybe you should have a plan, bro. Like, but yeah, that's good. That's good though. You need both sides to that. So
Yeah.
I think it's really good.
So that meant, all right, well, so you bought it. Now, you didn't buy it in Perth.
Nah, I bought it in the Bahamas. Pretty
Yeah.
much. Well, I originally wanted to buy it in the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to
yeah.
I've never been to that region before, and it's such a wicked place to sort of sail. Mm-hmm. But then I also wanted, my idea was like, I got it to do surf trips. Like I wanted to go international and sail. And then that way, the only real negative part of that was the pirates off Somalia. That was like a real stressful factor of that.
I've never heard this come up in conversation. So near the Mediterranean, Somalian pirates.
Yeah, so once you come through the Suez Canal, once you get through that, out through there, you got to come through, and that. But what they do now, they do Navy escorts because of the pirates they take on and kidnap and all that sort of stuff. Like
It's funny because I literally am just picturing in my head fucking literally pirates like Captain Jack Sparrow. But I know it.
Yeah,
I know it's
speed goes.
I am
yes,
the captain now.
But yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to do that, but then once you go through there, you got the Maldives and all through Indonesia, like Banyak Islands, Mentawais, and then you got the WA coast as well.
So for listeners, that's all surf spots you want to do?
Yeah, that was all the surfing spots, which is like, I've sort of been to the Maldives and all through Indonesia, surfing on boats and stuff like that, and like surfed a lot, pretty much most of the WA coast, like northwest sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So it was like a lot of the places I'd been before, but I really wanted to that was the trip.
Yeah.
I couldn't get a boat.
Yeah,
Like
right.
they were like, in that time of year, it was like high rental demand for the boats there.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't get one at a reasonable price, or two, exactly what I wanted. So then I had to start looking abroad and went to the Bahamas, and that's where I got it. So I ended up coming.
We're in the Bahamas.
The capital, Nassau.
However you pronounce it.
Exactly, yeah. So I bought it there.
What, without inspecting it?
So I sent someone to inspect it, like a qualified boat. I don't even
Nassau?
know.
Inspector.
Yeah, I know, right? He missed so much shit. Just like the structural integrity of the boat was good.
Yeah.
But just small stuff like the bilges. There was like corrosion of one of the engine legs, right? Didn't pick it up. Like he got a diver to go down and take photos. His son, legitimate family company.
And the guy you were buying the boat off was his brother. It's like, it's good, mate.
So like in that sort of like, there's heaps of shit I learned along the way, and one of them was like, I'm just going to go and inspect it myself, because especially like I know a lot more about the boats now, because Kurt and I spent so much time in the hull.
Yeah.
In Florida fixing shit up. So.
Right. Each word you're going to have to break down because
Yeah.
we don't know anything.
What?
So as a bilge is what pumps out water?
Yeah, so if any water gets into the hull, it pumps it out. So
And the hull is the front part of the shit.
The hull is the fiberglass
Underneath.
body. The whole
right.
body is the hull, yeah.
I know more than Delby's given off. I'm a skipper.
I don't know
I used to own a boat. Did you know that?
No.
Oh, yeah, I owned a boat. So I knew the bilge, I knew the hull.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
But clear it up for Delby.
And for
Actually,
listeners.
yeah, 90% of the listeners.
Sorry about your fan base.
Yeah.
So you come in and now your boat's fucked.
Well, it wasn't.
Or did you find that out on the way?
Pretty much on the way to Florida. Like there was just a little, it wasn't fucked. There was just small bits and pieces that we had to fix up. Yeah. And there's the difference between, it was a charter yacht in Bahamas, right? But we were now going to take it into international sailing. So there's a fair bit of difference.
Yeah, that's different.
Reliability's got to be there, like all that sort of stuff.
Is there any sort of like licenses you need to be able to do that?
That's the crazy thing. As we were pulling out, I remember looking at him going, who let us do this? I was like, I've bought this boat. And then like driving out of the marina.
Because such a narrow channel getting out of that main thing
crazy,
too.
Yeah,
even the fact that you said driving out of the marina instead of sailing out of the marina. You're like,
you don't sail in marina. I learned that a lesson.
Is that where the bridge was coming out of that?
That's going into
Florida.
Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So did you have lessons in Australia?
Yeah. Yeah.
You only did 3 and 4.
I got his name here because he was actually legendary. He was like really
good.
Give
him a shout out.
Sailing Eventide. He's based out of sort of Fremantle area.
Sailing Eventide.
Eventide.
So you learned here and then
So
he bought the boat. And he's like, all right, it's been inspected. It's passed. I've transferred the deposit. We're leaving in a week.
No, it wasn't a week. You see that shit talking already?
It was close to it. It was within a month.
Yeah, it was probably about a month and a half.
So you had a month to prepare to go from no sailing experience on a catamaran to driving it halfway around Earth.
Yep.
It's pretty fucking silly.
On the back of that, right? On the back of that, like we've grown up on boats. So like spend our whole life on motorboats, like had houseboats. And even if I got lessons or sailed for 2 years on the Sunday cruises in the river, it would have helped me. It wouldn't have helped at all. Like,
not because it's very different, hey? Like,
and it's more like anyone can sail, but it's when shit goes wrong, that's when you know how to sail. And you can't learn that unless you're in it. So the only way I would have got experience to like cater for this is to go on someone else's boat halfway around the world. And I was too busy trying to get the money to do it.
Yeah.
Than to like sacrifice income.
Yeah.
And go do that like for no work for like a couple months a year. Whatever. You know what I mean? So yeah. So like even saying like,
I mean, I'd rather have that happen just off the coast rather than the middle of the fucking Pacific or Atlantic Ocean. Like,
I was going to say to you, so you didn't just like ease into it and go, right, we're in Florida. Is that where you said you left from?
No, Bahamas.
Yeah. So you didn't go, okay, we'll just go over to another island in the Bahamas and then or you just fucking...
The plan was to do that. Yeah. You know, Bahamas is meant to be real nice sailing where they're like calm seas. Like the plan was to pick it up in Bahamas. I had a bit of a punch list of conditions to sail to take it to Florida to get work done. And then I was going to do tizzing up on it, like get a water maker put in, like just pretty much get it ready for international crossing.
It's almost like learning as you go in a bit of a better situation, I guess.
But then I planned to...
Well, that was the plan.
Yeah,
anyway,
the plan was to like island hop through the Bahamas and all that region, like Cuba and all that sort of stuff, down to Panama to then learn how to sail, like day trips and just all that. And just hop and skip our way down to there.
Yeah.
But once I got to Fort Lauderdale... They weren't ready for me, hey. Like,
what do you mean?
They were like, when we left, because they had to organise, there's people who sell to organise the few repairs and stuff like that to be done. So, and they organised it to get to the shipyard in Fort Lauderdale, which is like the best place on the planet Earth almost. Yeah. Because they got all the boat facilities you need. Like, there's super yachts galore there.
Yeah.
And we rocked up. They said, you got to be there Monday at like 10 a.m. We got there like a couple hours late. But it had to be brought out of the water. They didn't even know about it having to be brought out of the water.
We could have got there a week later and we'd still be fine.
Yeah, we were sitting on... Pretty much no work got done to the boat, sitting in the marina for like 2 weeks.
How frustrating.
Dude, and hurricane season.
I think it was 10 days because going into it, he's like, they're going to be ready for us. We're going to get there. They'll pull it out of the water. Yeah. They'll do what they need to do. They've quoted us about 10 days. And I was like, dude, boatyards don't work like that. They're not going to touch us for 10 days. I was saying that figuratively.
Yeah.
10 days and they just started looking at the boat.
Wow.
It was like, I expected it to be late, but nowhere near.
Yeah.
Like it really did hold us up.
And the flow-on effect from that is hurricanes are coming through.
Yeah.
All the weather you've mapped out is now fucked.
Well, the route I had to take, the easing into it, like I then got pushed into hurricane season. hurricane season. And it's and it was like, it wasn't just like I was on the edge of it before, which was like early seasons, like nothing. It was like almost like I think it was like at least a month to a month and a half delay, which really like you saw a change in the weather.
Yeah.
It was like more volatile. There were storms.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we even noticed it in
Port
Lauderdale.
Yeah.
While we were in Port. Just
So did you
doing work
fly
on the
in
boat.
together to pick
Yeah,
it up?
yeah, sick. Yeah, it was good. And pretty much Kurt got like the worst part of the trip. Like the worst part of the trip. Like picking it up was wicked. Like the cruise across from Bahamas to Fort Lauderdale was like glass. We actually didn't even get to sail. We had to motor the whole way.
Yeah, there was no wind.
We tried to put the sail up a couple of times, just like flap it in the wind, like not moving
Nothing.
at all. Yeah, it was nothing. So then like motoring across with him was like wicked. We were like smoking cigars, like having barbecues on the back, like drinking.
That's when he
Sick.
goes, oh, how did they let us do this? Like,
Yeah.
we're on the back of his boat in this beautiful little
Yeah.
bay in the Bahamas, cigars, eating steaks off the barbecue, having the best
Living
time. And we're
life.
like, who the hell has given us this boat to let us sail around the world?
I like
Sick.
seriously felt like there should be like an apprenticeship.
Yeah. Because
It wasn't until we left and got to that first night where we were sort of like, all right, we're in it now.
Yeah.
We're here.
And was it just you two to start? Because I know you picked up mates along the
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just us two
Yeah.
to pick it up and come across. Yeah.
So your boat's delayed, and now you got to head out through.
Sorry, just to go back, that like the ocean's just like there's no rules.
Unforgiving.
Like but there's no rules. Like there's no you can just go out there.
Yeah, and that's
like thinking of it in that thing. You can just
You
go
need a
out there and
license
there's
to drive on the
there's-
roads,
Yeah,
but-
there's no permission. Just like all right,
But
I'm
even
gonna go
then-
live out in the open seas.
Is there an international skipper stickers or anything
There
like
is,
that?
but they're not enforced. It's only
Yeah.
commercially. If you
Yeah.
do it commercially, but even then, it's almost mainly for insurance.
Yeah.
So insurance will cover you. You got competencies and stuff like that. But like the big thing about like laws and on the ocean and all that sort of stuff is you're governed by the flag of the vessel of where you're registered to.
Oh.
Yeah, like all that's. I mean, there's and the whole international enforcing policies. Like, there's no one to enforce it. Like, it's just if you piss off that country by violating that, and it benefits them to persecute you, they'll persecute you.
Yeah.
But
So-
like all that international fishing and illegal fishing, it's too much cost for that. Like, if you're in their waters or like just outside their waters, they don't give a shit because then they've got to like persecute you and stuff like that, and it's their cost.
What you doing in these waters? Definitely not fishing.
You just got a fishing rod, like
Oh no, but I'm talking about like the
commercial.
large
Big
scale
scale.
commercial.
So where were you registered? Bahamas or
Yeah.
America?
No.
Canada.
Yeah, it was Canada.
Canada?
Because the person I bought the yacht off was a lawyer in Canada.
and
he
they just bought birthed it.
Yeah.
birthed
So he put
birthed
it in charter in the Bahamas.
he was charting out in Bahamas. So
okay,
he'd
cool.
fly down and use it in the Bahamas.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah.
So you're hurricane season. What happens next?
Well, before that, there's a pretty critical part to the story because Kurt was meant to. I was going to try and make it so Kurt could get to Panama.
Yeah.
Because Panama Canal is like pretty monumental sort of thing to do, like all the canals and all that sort of
or
stuff.
the cocaina.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
We already touched on how we paid for the boat.
So yeah, pretty much trying to get him there because we'd spent so much time in the hull. Like when we were in Florida, it wasn't a holiday, hey.
Yeah.
Like it was like hard work, like day in, day out, harassing people, getting parts, doing a bit for the boats, like the gear.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff. It was so much money. The whole thing about this thing was just like
It's so stressful too.
So much money. Like it was just like literally just
Like stuff you didn't
just like
envision.
Do you know how you say whatever you think, double it? Like
Yeah,
times
yeah,
it by
yeah.
10. Hey, it was just crazy. Like all the gear, all the fixing, like all the surprises and boats and stuff like
The
that.
money.
They always say that.
Well,
blokes.
also the US dollar was changing quite
Yeah.
rapidly at that time too. So
to lower or to
Yeah,
higher.
the US was going up and lowering the AUD. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was shit.
Okay.
But pretty much, I was
fucking Trump. Damn, he's fucking economic fucking rise.
So Kurt, I was like trying to rush it. I was like, we were meeting deadlines. So I was like, set a date. And I was like, this is when we're leaving. Like, I was like harassing everybody. We drove it was like, how long was it? Like 14 hours or 12 hours one way through three or four states to pick up the new leg to install.
Yeah, right.
So they can install it over the weekend so we could leave on the Monday.
Shit. What's a leg?
It's the actual motor thruster of the boat, like a motor engine. So I
Where
still
your
had
propeller is on-
I
coming
still
out
had
under
two
the-
engines on the boat and the sails.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2 hours before we're due to depart, like pull out of the boat yard and start our trip, Kurt kicked the boat so hard that it snapped his toe and bent it almost onto a 45.
It's just hanging out sideways. And so I'm running up because by this stage we're doing the very last thing that needs to be done. So we're tidying the boat up, ready to depart.
Yeah.
And then there was the guys fitting the mainsail, the new mainsail that was needed adjusting.
Oh, fuck, that's all.
So there's people everywhere, ropes everywhere. I run up, kick one of these little steps.
Because you're mad at how long it took, or like you accidentally kicked it?
just because there's shit everywhere.
Yeah.
Like there's 8 people on the boat, I think, and we're all running around frantic because we're leaving in the next 3 hours. So yeah, everyone's just frantic, moving around. So I've just jumped. There was this pile of ropes, and I've gone to jump a step, and kicked a corner section, and then so my 4th toe, not my pinky, has just gone bang to like
I black
90
out.
degrees.
Kurt breaks toes. Eh?
And then like I looked at it, and Jared's like, "Dude, look at your toes." I thought I just kicked it, like you kick your shin and it really hurts. I thought I'd just done that.
Yeah, Delby just showed me the picture. And fucking
he's like, "Look at your toes." I've looked at it and I was like, maybe it's just dislocated. So I've gone down, straightened it out, and just like pulled it out, straightened it, let it go, and I was like, "Nah, it's broken." I could feel it. I knew it was broken. So then
God.
that set us back.
Yeah, well, pretty much. Well, where we're going to is like pretty shit healthcare. You got Cuba and then all third world countries and stuff like that. So if anything happens along the way, they're not the places like blood circulation is what I was worried about and all that sort of stuff.
Like
yeah,
that.
So I was like more worried about him losing the toe. Yeah. In like a shitty place along the way.
Yeah.
Full pirate, like peg leg.
Yeah. So then I was like, oh, we're not leaving. Like we'll get him to the hospital and that sort of stuff. So he ended up running around for the day, and pretty much who did you contact? It was either insurance or whatever, and they said you're coming home. Like,
yeah, well, basically, they wanted. I went to the hospital. I knew that to claim travel insurance to get home, I'd have to prove that it's broken. You can't just say, I need to fly home because my toe's broken. They need to prove it. So I've gone to the hospital to get my X-rays or whatever done to get it proven, and they're trying to wheel me into surgery, saying, no, you need to go to surgery right now. Like, there's an emergency type thing on it. I'm like, looking down at my toe, I'm like, there's no bone actually hanging out. I'm not going to bleed out.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you have to go. So I was like, I pretty much had to grab onto the wheelchair. They're trying to wheel me in almost, and I was like, had to grab, and I was like, I don't think you understand. I'm not having surgery here. And he's starting to get a bit shitty, this doctor, the thing, and he's like, you've got private health though, don't you? Or travel insurance? And I was like, yeah, but if you guys botch the job, no one back home's going to want to deal with it. So it's just a fight with them, and it ended up being a bit of a heartache.
That's where we were talking before the potty that their profits come before.
Oh, dude, American healthcare system is terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. But then, anyway, so after arguing with them, you're not going to operate on me. They're like, oh, okay, well, the nurse will be with you in a minute. She'll give you the paperwork. And then they pretty much pushed me out the door in exactly the same condition that I walked in.
With an X-ray?
No, so I made them give me the X-ray, and I was like, I need a letter saying that all I need is you to say that the toe's broken.
Yeah.
And then, they've pushed me out the door. I didn't have a moon boot. I had like nothing. Yeah. I was like, I'm in the same condition. I walked in, and you're pressuring me to get surgery that it's that bad. And I'm like, I made the right. Straight away, I was like, I know I've made the right decision. Plus, it's just a toe, right? If it was hanging out and there was bone hanging out, I was like, maybe I might. Like, to look at it, you're like, I know it's broken.
Yeah, it's a bone.
I can make it home for a couple of days.
Yeah. But you would be dog shit on the boat because it's put pressure through it. And
If the boat's rocking around and that's core stability, really.
So you've lost your, what would you be called, first mate?
Yeah.
You lost your first mate?
Yeah. So then
now you're solo?
Well, nah. So while we were there, this is one of Kurt's ideas. He was pushing a lot, but I ended up caving into it, thank God. So we'd put a Facebook ad out on pages.
We just joined
like sailing crew pages.
Yeah.
Put a Facebook ad out saying we're leaving Fort Lauderdale to Panama. Pretty much a straight mission, just see who keen, and we got some weirdos apply. we got some weirdos.
We actually didn't think we'd get that many. Like, we thought we'll put an ad out. We'll hopefully get a couple people. So I put the ad, like
Kurt
one
afternoon. I was like, you do that. I'm doing.
I found like 3 Facebook groups in the area. Put them in. Put our phone down, and we kept working on the boat, thinking we might get a couple people.
Yeah.
Like, and 2 hours later, we finished doing whatever we're doing and working on the boat. I checked my phone and. Dude, I had like hundreds of people in messages.
What did they? Why? Because they wanted just a free lift somewhere, or
so? Yeah, a lot of people love sailing but can't afford a boat.
Yeah,
so that's how they get their experience, right? And people just love being on the water, and also like sailing and professional yacht delivery and that sort of thing's quite a big industry in like Miami and Fort Lauderdale and that sort of area. So that's how they get sea time and hours up.
Yeah.
By going out. So basically it's a free way for them to develop skills. And
right. And
what they didn't know is they probably knew more than us.
We told them.
Yeah.
We
After we left.
we left.
These crazy Aussies. Yeah. Were they, what do you call it? Did you interview them?
Just on the phone. Just pretty much did phone.
No criminal history
phone
checks?
call. No, we didn't. We should have.
Yeah.
We didn't have time though.
No,
like
this
this was like 5 days before. We put the ad up 5 days before due to leave.
Yeah, but we got pretty much landed with 2 people.
Yeah.
So I had to fly in one dude.
Were you trying to get diversity on the boat, or were you just trying to get the best person?
Just the best person.
Yeah, weird how that happens when your life's on the line. Hey,
I'm big on competency results. Yeah.
It's weird that he says that and didn't know how to sail.
But ended up getting a chick on as well. So it was a dude that flew in, not very far, but he'd been done sailing in Gulf.
Yeah.
We had one guy before that was meant to come on. Seemed like a bit of a stress head, so he pulled out.
Yeah.
Well, I'm stoked.
Which I think worked out for the best.
I was stoked he pulled out. Just because of that stress head mentality, where this other dude was like hell about the adventure. Like,
fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the ones you want.
He was like, he was just keen. Like, doesn't matter what happened, he was keen.
Yeah, whatever happens, we fucking deal with it. So I think,
pretty much. Thank
I
God.
love that.
Thank God he was like that.
Yeah.
So then the chick, she didn't have any sailing experience, but she was a captain, qualified captain in delivering like mega boats and stuff like that. Like
okay.
big
Super
boats and
yachts
stuff.
and-
So yeah.
So
She knew all nautical stuff. Like she did know weather. Like she definitely, it was good. Like level of competencies, like spread out. Like the other dude was like fast and loose, sort of, especially with that sort of shit.
Yeah,
where she knew all the regs and stuff. She
I love that.
Yeah, it was so. It was real.
I
good.
like my women fast and loose person.
So pretty much we set off. The 3 of us. So I pretty much knew that we got them to the boat like a little bit before, just so we could meet and greet and everything like that. And then
He got there 2 days.
Yeah.
But she lived close, so she would pop in and
Yeah.
like she was also working on some of the boats that were around the boat yards where we were.
Because what timeline are you looking at? Because now you're living with each other, and if you don't get along, you're stuck on a boat with this cunt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know?
So I was pulling out to sea with 2 randoms.
Yeah.
I had no idea what they were, whether they had a criminal history or not.
Yeah.
Yes, but it turned out safe. I got there.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much pulled out with them. Kurt, it's one of the coolest videos of the trip, I reckon. It's shit. But I dropped Kurt off at the hotel so we could see out of the last bridge through the Fort Lauderdale canals.
Yeah.
I had to wait for my
Got that
flight.
one as well.
Yeah, and it was like, it showed like the last bridge, because like the canals were hectic. Like, I didn't know what I was getting into when I was coming in.
It's
like
so full on.
It was full on. I'd been driving this boat for like a couple of days in the open ocean.
Yeah.
And then
Is
they
that
just
because it's
nothing
so
to
big
hit.
and it's small.
Is that just out of like Miami, like Florida?
there. Yeah.
Because I remember flying over it when I went to the Bahamas from Miami and like looking, going, that's fucking
So I had to drive that boat right to the very end as it goes, like of those canals. Like the boat yard was as deep as you could go. And I got this fucking yacht that I've only just been driving for a couple of days. And there's like
Still
literally,
getting used to how it steers.
there's mega yachts, like these mega yachts.
And if you hit
that
them,
were
and
either side, all the way down. It got so narrow. And there's drawbridges that I got to radio up, hold position in the tide, radio the drawbridges for them to open, wait for them to stop traffic and open up, and then go through. And one time there was like a mega yacht coming the other way, and they got these little tugboats towing them.
Yeah.
So anything under tow gets right away. So I was about to come through this, and I had to do a U-turn in the middle of this narrow canal, come back, find a little outlet to duck into so it could go past.
Jeez.
And then at that point, I was like, it's too stressed out. I pulled over, moored up. I was like, I need to take a break.
Yeah. And there'd be no like mega yachts floating around in Miami either, would there?
No, of course.
Not many fucking millionaires floating around there with fuck.
Yeah.
With like just like a meter either side, sort
Dude,
of
it
like
was
with
so
boats
narrow.
going
And
past.
if you hit
so
them,
intense.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
were you insured for hitting other boats?
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it was,
No
that was
egos in there as well. Yeah. Fuck.
But yeah, one of the best videos was Kurt in the balcony with his foot broken, with like then pans up to me going through the last bridge and motoring through, and that was us on the way out to.
I was so fucking sad. That should have been me.
Yeah. Fuck.
But
So,
yeah.
Where was your first stop then? Or were you straight into hurricanes?
Pretty much. Well, yeah, it was straight into hurricane season. So that was where I definitely got by far the worst weather trip.
Because you're straight going through the Bermuda Triangle area.
Nah, Bermuda Triangle's up a bit north and stuff.
Yeah.
Did you
in the Caribbean?
You're going south.
South.
Okay,
Were you skeptical of that? Would you have gone through that if you had to?
Yeah, I would have gone through that.
stress?
I just reckon it's more hearsay than anything. Stories, old school stories and stuff. But getting towards the Gulf Stream. And the biggest thing, trying to choose which path to go. Like, my original plan was to go around the outside of the Bahamas and then through the sort of eastern side of Cuba. But I ended up being talked into by another captain to go through the other side, the west side of Cuba. And it's sort of it is the shortest route, but that time of the year, the winds aren't as good. So he was a motorboat captain. He gave me the best advice that a motorboat would do, but a sailing yacht wasn't the best route. Hey, so also you got the Gulf Stream, which is like warm water, like flowing through. It's like a high current, stream that pushes through.
Yeah, like 6 or 8 knots or something.
Yeah, it's huge. But then with that,
just the current,
the current, constant current, and then with that, with the warm temperature and the atmosphere, this is the biggest thing. The biggest thing I learned on the way was weather. Like, I was like, in this whole thing, sailing's easy. Like, learning what ropes to pull. You got a manual basically in the boat about when to trim and like when to reef down and stuff like that. But it's like predicting the weather and knowing when to go or not to go and what route to take. And like that's the dangerous part, because like you put everyone at risk.
Yeah.
So
because you wouldn't be looking at the weather chart and sailing into a fucking hurricane, but it wouldn't. That's the obvious one.
Yeah. But and with that differential of temperature, water, and atmosphere, that's a real, because there's the potential for storms and stuff like that. It's like if they occur, this is the severity because of the atmosphere and the conditions.
Yeah.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah.
I rolled straight into this Gulf Stream. I was the happiest. Like we was come down the corridor, Florida Keys. And happy, like beautiful sailing, sunny, like beautiful, like getting like 8 knots, which is pretty good for my boat, 7 to 8 knots. And then we pulled off the Keys to come towards Cuba, our first like open water crossing of the trip. And then as it was going into dusk, this storm just like rolled in on the horizon. It was just going basically from our left to right, just like started.
It's all like
through.
What is it? Isolated thunderstorms that you get because you're getting into that. It's hurricane season, but that's what they develop as the...
They develop off the coast and then move into the thing, but that's where they start, isn't it?
Yeah, so this thing was just like rolling through, and I was like change course to try and divert from it. And pretty much that night, like we had shifts. So Josh, pretty much it was just me and Josh sailing because Julie, her name was. Julie and Josh were the two that we got on. So it was just Josh and I basically doing split shifts.
Triple J, Jarred, Julie and Josh.
Yeah, just doing split shifts. So we were up half the night, and then when whoever was on during the day, we just sort of like whoever could do it sort of did it.
You didn't drive tired this time, did you?
So tired. So tired. Like got to you, hey.
Yeah.
But yeah, that night Josh was on first. I was in bed, and he said that like got a radar put on for the boat. Kurt's mentioned it. I was like, no, I don't need it. I'll be fine. And then the same captain told me to go that way was like, put a radar on. In no uncertain terms, like don't.
So you can see where weather's coming in.
Yeah, you can see storm fronts coming in. So and it was a godsend for the storms. Like he got hit by a medium sort of storm, which was shit. I think it was about 35 knots or something like that while I was asleep. Just reefed down. I sort of said no main sail at night, just have the head sail in. So the main sail was the big one above you, and the head sail is the small triangular one at the front, basically. So I just said head sail at night time, especially just while we're getting used to the boat, don't know the weather conditions and all that sort of stuff. It's easy to man by yourself.
Whichever way the wind's going, you're going in that direction?
No, not at all. So there's pretty much heading into irons, so you can't go directly into it. And then also, if you've got the standard sail set up with just the main sail and head sail, you can't go directly following either, because you can accidentally jibe and that'll like rip the bolts of the boom and stuff like that.
I've always wanted to know, if the wind's coming at you, how do you sail forward?
Yeah, so it's like it's almost like an aeroplane effect.
Yeah, right.
So like the low pressure on one side and high pressure on the other pulls it. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same principle in aerodynamics as an airplane.
Yeah.
So it'll like pull you along, and it's such a different feeling of sailing, like following wind or like heading into it. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But also, one of the guys that came on later, anytime we're heading into it, he was down, like seasickness. He got such bad seasickness heading into it.
Why?
Because it's roughness. You're banging into it a lot more and stuff like that. So anytime I saw the weather, we had like headwinds. I just planned for him to be useless. Like he was a soldier. He went on he learned into it knowing he had C6, but he just wanted to be a part of the experience. Yeah. And he soldiered through most of it, but then only a couple times I was like, all right, I got your shift, dude. Yeah.
Did you ever get seasickness yourself, or was it something you suffered from time to time?
No, never. Because I think Kurt and I, neither of us got it. Sort of, we both brought up in boats from young ages, that sort of stuff. Just
I get so seasick.
Yeah. I've only had it once, fucking in the Bahamas of all places. Yeah.
Oh, you've been?
Yeah. I owned a boat, so I was fine with it.
Yeah.
But it was deep sea fishing charter.
Yeah.
Was fine. We were having a great time, and then went down deck. Needed a shit. Sat down there for 5 minutes, and then came back up, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And spent a lot of money for nothing. I was fucked, man. I remember we caught a dolphin fish and or Maui.
Same.
And got up. They brought it in. I quickly posed for a photo, and then I went fucking straight back down. It was fucked.
When you said straight back down, you go straight back down.
Like no. I stayed up deck, straight down on the fucking floor. I was
it was the worst feeling.
I did get sick once, and it was for about 5 minutes, and it was when I went down and had a shit.
Yeah.
And then, once I come back up, I sort of didn't feel too bad. I sort of. Within 15 minutes, I come good again. But it was only the only time I got it.
What do you think that is? Is because I guess like the moving the boat, but you're more
because
you're lower, or
I don't know, because I've never really suffered from it, so I've never really thought about it. People tell me like you can't see the horizon because then you're below.
Oh
you can find space as well.
Yeah, because coming up on top deck and the fishing definitely helped. The fresh air, breathing, water,
straight away,
straight away for you. So that was I used to get slightly nauseous in stronger, like bigger waves and stuff like that from time to time on my own boat, but never sick. And that was like I was that close. Worst was I couldn't throw up. I reckon if I did throw up, I probably would have felt better. We probably would have caught more fish as well, chowing up podcast, but barreling the water. But I couldn't throw up. I just felt that horrible nausea,
It's the worst, hey. It's just so debilitating. I had it on, do you know Laz Liam Thomas? It was his, I think, 18th or 21st. We went out deep sea fishing, and on top of my back being fucked, I just couldn't stand up from the back, and then seasickness. So the first 4 hours, I was just lying down, fucked. And then the last half an hour came good, caught a snapper.
Yeah, BT.
But you were saying that you were heading into this storm, so you got the radar.
Yeah. So at this time, one small, like medium one, 35 knots, something like that, hit Josh. And then so he's like, stay up, we'll talk for it. Generally hand over, you do like a half an hour chat, just like talk about what's happened, conditions and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then we saw this one on the radar. It was pretty big. Like this just pretty much took up the whole radar sort of thing. And just thought it'd be the same sort of thing, 35 knots, but this thing was just hit us, hey. Just hit us. And like, we were prepped for it. So we had like brought in the head sail. So it was almost like a storm jib, just like basically a small triangle, just to give you a little bit. The boat's got enough windage to keep you going forward and keep you steering and all that sort of stuff. But this thing here, it got up to like, we weren't watching it, but we saw it get to 51 knots, which is about 100 kilometers an hour winds.
Yeah.
The swell was like, and my boat's, I think it's about, I'd say 14 meters or something like that.
13, 14.
Yeah, about 14 meters. And it dwarfed my boat, these swells, hey. Like I was going over these things and I was just looking down into these troughs, and it was like twice as big as my boat. Like I was just going
the fuck out of me, man.
And it's
and
like,
so you've gone straight into this with no there's no easing in, like going from port to port for a few days.
Just hits you, hey.
Which is what I had in my head. I thought, like it's a long trip. You're just going to go port to port, ease in, and after 10 days, you've got a shitload more experience. So you've literally just gone into it.
That's it. It was just into it. That's what I mean. Like this, it took us 11 days to get from.
So you lost all that
Florida to Panama, and like I did sort of stop along the way, like unplanned stops a little bit.
Yeah.
But Yeah, so this storm, this was like this was the start of it, but this was us like sort of crossing a barrier into the fucking hell zone. Hey, like it was like getting across that channel, and just that water temperature difference and all the winds and stuff like that. But yeah, 100-mile-an-hour winds. It's nighttime. It was just me and Josh up. Julie ended up getting up, but she didn't come outside. Yeah, she was like just holding the door at the back inside. And what had happened is we had such nice weather before this. So when you drop the mainsail, usually you like strap it up and stuff like that. But we had nice weather. There was no real reason to. When this storm hit, it actually ripped up the mainsail in 100-mile-an-hour winds. And the only reason why I worked it out, because we were standing up the top on the fly bridge, just like exposed. Yeah. And then the boat started tilting to the side. And I was like, that doesn't feel right. Like something's not right.
Especially a massive cat.
And so it's got like a hard fiberglass roof on the fly bridge. And I leaned up and out and looked up, and the mainsail has been ripped up. It's almost halfway up, and just there's like guide ropes to keep it in line. And the fiberglass battens have bent out of shape. God. And it's been like pulled out to the side. There's this massive D-loop out to the side of the boat, just catching wind in 100-mile-an-hour winds.
Can that potentially flip you over?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and that's what I felt, the boat like tweaking to the side sort of thing. So yeah, I pretty much as soon as I saw that, I like unclipped, and it was kind of stupid. But
unclipped yourself?
Yeah, because we were clipped on, like on the lanyards and all that sort of, and the stays.
Yeah.
Pretty much just ran straight up and just hugged the boom with one arm, and then grabbed the sail, because it was low, it wasn't high, it was almost like a quarter to a half it was out, but it was de-looped out. And then you got the sail bag sort of like where it's normally stashed into. So I just grabbed it, I knew I wasn't going to get it in, and just pulled it down behind the sail bag, so it didn't just keep catching wind and just keep ripping out and just keep tipping us. And that was enough to stop jolting the boat to the side. So I was
you're just a human like wedge. Or like a just human clip.
Clip, just holding it in place, eh? And
fucked.
And then because Josh was up, like all we had to do was throw a rope around it and like tie it up and just how it was, and we would have been all right. But he couldn't let go of the steering wheel, because when it's that big seas and all that sort of stuff, with the following swells that were coming up behind us, if it's on autopilot, it's too slow to correct, so you can run down the swell and then tip like that. So you got to manually steer, like when it's that hectic. So he couldn't let go of the steering wheel, because I'd grabbed that, so he's grabbed the steering wheel.
Are you like, Julie, rope me?
We couldn't even hear each other, and we were like 5 to 6 meters away. There's horizontal range, so you just barely see.
You're banging on the idea that you both know what you got to do.
Yeah, sort of just winging it.
Yeah. Not much.
But you got to know, you clipped on in case you get washed.
No, I took that off and it was back there.
My God.
So I'm like basically on the roof of the boat. Hold on.
Oh, fuck, right.
And then basically he like, I can't remember how long I was up there for, but I felt like maybe 30, 40 minutes. And I was like, I can't hang on much longer. And I'm just like, just hang on as long as you can. Hey. Like, just got to hold on as long as you can. And then he just called a time. We had a rope sitting there that we could use to throw around, and he just called a time to like basically let go of the steering wheel, put on autopilot, run up, would help me, and took like a couple of minutes to like wrap it up and shit like that. And then we both went back, and then pretty much the storm lasted, like it wasn't ages, like that, like 100-mile-an-hour winds was maybe, like, I don't know, it felt like an hour and a half or 2 hours sort of thing. And it's just like hectic. Like, just the vulnerability is just like next level. Hey, like just like no one can help you. Even if you hit that EPIRB, no one's helping you.
I was going to say, is it like, so the EPIRB is that, I didn't know whether it was a local thing or whether does that still work internationally?
Yeah, it is an international thing. So if you let off an EPIRB, it's international law, boating law sort of thing, that you have to go, closest vessel has to go and help.
Yeah.
Like there's no choice about it. And that's what they do abide by. So if a shipping container happened to be like a couple of kilometres away, it would turn and come to the, come and try and help.
Was that crossing your minds to EPIRB it at all? Or is it once you're over?
In the back of my head, in the back of my head, it was pretty much like if it's life raft and EPIRB, like catch bags or grab bag.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much all flares, EPIRB, some food, some water. I just put in a bag. So pretty much if you've got a bale ship, you just grab that and you go and you got everything you sort of need to get by for a couple of days, get emergency services to you and stuff. And then life raft. So I was like, pretty much in my mind, I was like, that's what I've got to do. Had to mentally prep the procedure of what I wanted to do if we did roll. But even then, if I rolled and I was on the roof, I'm I'm not doing any of that shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gone.
Yeah.
If Kurt didn't break his toe, would you have had these guys on board?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were still going to be there the whole time.
All right. I was going to say, because fuck, if it was just used to, you fucked. Like,
Well,
it
it
was
would have
just.
been the same
It's
thing.
the same thing.
It would have been the same thing because
Julie's not doing anything. She's still down underneath.
Yeah.
And he couldn't not hold the steering wheel. He had to stay there. And
So what's she doing underneath?
Charting.
Like, yeah. Like, or is there's no reason for her
no
to
reason
be there?
and that's the other thing. Like, less people out. Like,
risk.
normally it's like less things. Like, you don't have to worry about that person being washed over or something like that.
Yeah,
Sorta.
yeah.
Even though it should be tied in and that sort of stuff. Like, it's sort of, if you don't need to come out, don't come out. Another thing is she didn't know what was going upstairs.
Ah, yep.
You know what I mean? She's got no idea. Like, it's not like she chose to not come out. There's just no reason for her to come out. Like, she thinks we got it under control upstairs. It's just storms and stuff like that. Like, why
Can't
would
hear
she?
the screams.
I was about to say, is it almost like blissful ignorance as well? Like,
Well, it would've
I
been.
can't see these massive waves. I can feel them, but
Yeah. She wasn't. The thing is, she wasn't scared at any point. I didn't see her scared at any time through it. She was like fairly, like, I don't know.
She also
Blasé.
just
Understood.
Yeah,
Competent.
Yeah. She wasn't like a damsel in distress through all this. Like, she was
I would have been
all over it.
absolutely dog shit on it. I'd have been like, look at the size of this fucker, we're going to die. I'd have been doing my last rites.
That's why I was thankful, or we were thankful, that dude that pulled out. Because he was like, especially in the communication towards the end, he started to be like a hell stress head.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't have reacted well in that situation. Like, that was like the one time that I nearly lost the boat, for sure.
Yeah.
And it was like right at the start, like, but that other guy, Josh, just like handled it like a G. Like, just like didn't even question it. I didn't even have to tell him to grab the wheel. He just grabbed the wheel, sort of thing. So yeah, it was like
So lucky that they didn't lie on the resume.
yeah.
Fuck, man. I just wanted to go surfing.
Just wanted a free trip to Panama.
Well, that was a lot of the people too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was-
right.
But to be fair, a lot of them were honest in saying, I don't have any experience, but really keen to come on this journey with you.
Yeah.
Because they're sort of relying on us knowing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Which is also why we had to vet quite a do a
Got
lot
a
of
feel.
vetting. Yeah.
Fuck. So that meant that you had to leave him and you didn't meet back up at any point, or you
Yeah,
did?
so I got my toe sorted. I actually nipped off to France for a month with my partner and her family.
Yeah.
And then when I came back, it was sort of pretty good that I had to do that because he needed some parts for the boat. So I then spent a week or two running around getting parts for the boat.
Yeah.
And then flew back. So me and Joel Kelly actually flew to Tahiti.
That's right.
And met back up with them in Tahiti.
Caught a cheeky little fringe show first.
did he?
Oh, I did too. Yeah,
Yeah,
I come
yeah.
and see you at Fringe in
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
It was just
forgot about that.
a random 5 o'clock show. Alcohol was good for you with Cole Legacy, and
Yeah,
it was just
that's right.
just a quick little in the main cellar there,
Yeah.
allegedly. Then so what? Then when did Ricky and Joel join?
So they jumped. Oh, so Nico, one of my mates, and Ricky jumped on in Panama.
Yeah.
So
And Mitcho. Oh, no, Mitcho was
Julie jumped off in Panama as well. So she did the Panama Canal with us. So you come into Cologne.
She just did the deadly bit.
Yeah, pretty much. Well,
She also broke her toe on the same thing.
bit.
On
Exact thing.
no.
Exact thing. Like
Cursed.
2 days out of Panama,
Fuck.
she kicked the exact same bit of like fiberglass step out bit.
Wow.
And broke her toe. Pretty much she jumped off in Panama. So you come into Cologne, which is the Caribbean side of the continent, and then you go through the canal. So they're basically like 3 locks.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool old school system. They actually haven't done any work to it, essentially,
Since back in the day.
since they built it. Hey, like
Wow.
almost no maintenance and stuff like that.
Sick.
But you drive in, like I had a massive sea container right behind me in the lock too. So it came up behind me, and then you like, if they flood, it's all gravity fed from water in between.
Yeah, right.
They flood it, and then you rise up with the gravity fed water, and then you drive into the next lock.
That's so crazy.
And then they flood that one, and you and the massive sea container just like go up with it.
Wow.
And there's 3 levels. It's like a water elevator. Literally.
How do they get it?
So
where do they get it from? The ocean?
So it's all man built. So that whole river system
Wow.
from one side to the other is man built by the US. I think another way back in the day tried to do it, failed. US came in and did it. So it's basically works off rainwater. So if they lose rainwater that comes into that river system connecting into oceans, if it stops raining, the whole system stops working. So it comes into that river system that's man-made, like they basically chose the path and dug it out and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, that's high. So it's higher than both the seas, right?
Yeah.
Either seas and oceans each side. So as you're going in, the gravity water, because it's higher, they just open chambers and it floods that chamber.
That's
and
incredible.
you rise up and then you go to the next chamber, they flood that one. So it goes 3 levels to get to the level of the river.
What about once you're out? Does the water go
Drain.
back
It
or just
drains.
back out to the ocean?
Yeah. It just goes to the ocean. And then once you get to it's a 2-day process for us. So we did the locks in the afternoon going into it on the Caribbean side. And then we slept overnight. And then we motored through the canal, like through the river that day. And then that afternoon went down the locks the other side. So then you go down. There's 3 steps down.
That's fucking like that.
Yeah.
Human ingenuity blows my mind,
So
man.
Incredible.
So there's rainwater in the top of the mountains in a big dam, I assume.
No, it just rains into it's just all the rain. There's that much rain there that it goes into that river system. It just flows into the river system. And the dam is that river system between the 2 locks.
So if the rain stops, it's
The whole
fucked.
system.
Yeah,
fucks.
wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck.
Oh.
Well, you need the Chinese to
Ah.
make it rain. They know how to manipulate the weather.
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
actually started trying to hustle in on Panama because Panama is such an important shipping transit.
Yeah.
And it's owned by America, but I think America gave back the independence to Panama basically. And then now China started coming to visit.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then pretty much as soon as the China representative started to go there, I think one of the US big dogs flew in there like, hey, what the fuck's going on here? Sort of thing. Like, yeah.
Fuck. So then you start surfing? Is that pretty much from Panama?
Well, that was the idea. Pretty much only started surfing once we hit Tahiti. Because, I mean, to cover half the world basically in 6 months with all the shit like stop-offs and that sort of stuff, you're actually doing it at a fairly fast pace.
Yeah.
Like there's you do get to chill, but like it's mainly like days or week or something like that. And to get a good surfing window in that time frame, especially at some of these random sort of spots.
I mean, the surfing stuff that's more Grim Reaper's alley than our alley, but we could talk about.
You don't not talk about it. Though,
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
But on the way between any of these stretches, any unidentified aerial phenomenon or UFOs?
Oh, please.
Nah. Well, the only thing Julie said, she saw a white glow come and buzz the boat and piss off.
It was just a barge. No. What? So a white glow came in.
Yeah, that's what she said on night shift. White glow came in and sort of right up to the boat and then just pretty much fucked off. That was the only. That was of anyone.
Whereabouts were you? Were you close to land or in the ocean?
No. Well, we were in the Caribbean still. I think we were down near Cayman Islands, which I got rejected entry from.
Did you? Why?
Yeah, they wanted to arrest me. They thought my COVID documentation was false. I had a medical exemption.
Yeah,
right. Which is funny because mine was the only one legitimate.
Yeah. Is that from your lungs from the
No.
shallow
I
water?
just got the I got COVID just before I left.
Yeah.
So I got that.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Previously had it, so I didn't have to get
Natural
Yeah,
immunity.
natural immunity. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought natural immunity would end up being more effective?
it.
So,
Yeah, they pretty much, and then I think it was the captain of the boat and all that sort of stuff, and they saw it was my boat and the paperwork, and they were like, "Oh, we think it's fraudulent. We're going to arrest you." All that sort of stuff.
Jeez.
And then
how'd you talk your way out of it?
Well, they ended up wanting money as well.
So
And I was like,
extort you.
yeah, pretty much. And then, but that was right at the end as I was pulling away. They're like, if you pay us, you can come aboard. And I was like, nah. Because I was just there to get parts. I snapped one of the main ropes in Cayman Islands. After Cuba, I dropped in Cayman Islands for literally the day.
Is Cayman Islands its own country?
Yeah.
Is that where people hide money?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. Super liberal. I'd get away with everything. They'd be I thought they'd be the less about COVID out of all the places, but they gave me the most hassle, eh? I was breezing in there thinking it was going to be walk in the park. But
you were actually in Florida and US.
Yeah, and they let me in. Didn't even obviously I think Qantas submit, you have to do your visa and then you submit all your paperwork. So when we were coming into America, they didn't even ask us anything. It literally breezed us through.
Dude, we almost didn't even make it out of Perth.
Oh, yeah.
When we were leaving, that was so stressful with our COVID because Qantas, we were flying with Qantas, and shout out to Qantas.
Yeah.
They're like, it's our responsibility if you don't get back.
Yeah.
We've got to fly you around, so if the states don't let you in. So then there was a stuff up with, because this is right as
they didn't know what.
Everything was
this
shutting
was
down.
right as everything's starting to open up.
Oh.
Yeah,
So it was
they
the
changed-
opposite. So no one
changed
really
things a
knew
little bit.
how to navigate these waters. So they had these things
Julie
in place.
So how long ago was this then? Like,
I think it was like
maybe
mid last year. I got back in Australia in December.
Okay.
Yeah. So got back a couple months ago.
So this is very recent.
June we left.
Very recent.
Super.
June we left, I think it was.
Yeah, it was about June.
Yeah, Kurt
okay.
popped over to Edinburgh when I was there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just for real quick, 1 day, little 1 or 2 day sting.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But yeah,
so,
in terms of surf, I think that was the original question.
aliens and then...
Yeah, aliens. Yeah, aliens. Yeah, it was only that white glow, which she was on shift on her own. She said she saw.
Shit herself or no?
Nah, she didn't seem like she did.
Yeah.
She was like...
Could have been a drone maybe?
I was about to say, and like,
No, it wasn't a drone.
regardless
Too far out,
regardless of like UFOs and stuff like that, which we're seeing everywhere in the news now, but just the sky.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Dude,
It was like,
spectacular.
it's the best part of night shift, eh? It was just like laying about, watching, like you're on your own on night shift and you're just like taking it in.
Be like a TV show almost, wouldn't it? Be just so
It
like
was.
it's so much more than what you see.
No light pollution?
So, none. Like when you're coming up to a city, you really see what, like it highlights the light pollution.
Yeah,
But like on a 3-hour watch, we'd get, I don't know, like 5 or 6 shooting stars, and
Yeah,
like
sick.
minimum is a standard 5 or 6 shooting stars, and then God knows how many satellites running past. And
Yeah.
also like watching the isolated thunderstorms pop up, you see them on the radar, and you'll see them on the horizon, and then you're just watching where they're moving, which direction, and how quickly they're moving.
And that's just from a pressure differential and temperature differential, those thunderstorms?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
Yeah,
like
cool.
it's heaps of cool shit to watch.
How much does the
Lightning
like the
was so scary.
oh,
Lightning was the most.
Yeah.
That's because you got a big ass receptor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And especially you're on night shift because most of the lightning happens at night.
Yeah.
And then you're up on your own upstairs, and then you're sitting like a metre away from the lightning rod that's going right up into the sky.
How does it deflect that on your boat? It will take it and put it to a rubber source or something?
Well, you got like lightning arresters and stuff like that. But the problem is, there's like so much energy coming through your boat, it just fries everything.
Wow.
So I carried a spare GPS unit, pretty much because it'd fry all the control equipment I had, and then I had the spare GPS unit so that I could like change out, and then I also had it on my phone too.
Yeah.
So whenever I went to sleep at night or I wasn't on shift, I wouldn't plug my phone in to the power. So just in case we did get hit,
That's pretty smart.
I had like two
yeah.
redundancies to make sure we could still get where we needed to go.
And
Yeah.
could Julie navigate by the stars if
She
needed?
could, yeah. She actually
sick.
could. The idea was for her to teach me like on that trip, but it was way too hectic.
Yeah.
It was way too hectic. Like pretty much after that big storm I told you about, it was just pretty much like one front after the other, like the whole trip. Like it was like in that 11 days, it was like 4 years of sailing. It was all like putting the sails up, pulling it down, pulling the sails, like trimming, like just like weather, everything. It was just like that was my crash course in sailing, was that trip down there. So then that was it was the worst weather I got. So then when friends came on board, I was like feeling a lot more confident.
Yeah.
Stuff
Well, how do you ration food or plan food? Because if you fucking water,
Yeah. Well,
you said you had a water maker
yeah, I had a water maker so I could fill that up.
with rainwater or salt water.
No, so you put it into this take salt water out, reverse osmosis through high pressure through filter system, and then you pretty much just
So
comes
water's
out.
not an issue.
Water's
as
not an
long
issue.
as that thing's going.
As long as I can run the generator,
Yeah.
wasn't an issue.
And food?
Food, you just load up before you go. You just plant because I had weather maps and stuff like that, and you have an average speed of your boat.
Yeah.
And you can,
What about fishing?
always fishing. I
Pretty
bought-
much how we lived.
Yeah.
Predominantly, we just bought like kilos of rice,
Yeah,
and then we just had
back up.
relied on fish as being our proteins.
Yeah, we had backup in the freezer, so I had 2 fridges and a freezer on board, and then it was like we had enough food to like sort of get us by if we didn't catch anything, but it was pretty much averaged about 1 fish a day while in open water.
Yeah.
Was there any like just chill days?
Yeah,
Like were you just like
like drama free, like hell good weather. Yeah,
just
it was heaps.
On the
Cruising.
other side of Panama, it was heaps better.
Yeah, like
I'm
'cause-
glad I missed that part of the day.
Yeah,
He's going through all this hectic shit. I was in the south of France, like laying by the pool.
sounds horrible.
I did see Delby. That was probably the worst part of the day.
and legacy.
Oh yeah. Okay,
So I saw you caught a yellowfin tuna as well. That's
that was
pretty
Kurt's girlfriend. Eh?
Yeah.
She jumped on.
So she was like the worst seasickness, didn't move for 4 days. Nico, who also gets real seasick, was saying when he caught a fish, it was enough to get him engaged enough and focus on something that he then overcome it and then didn't feel as sick after. So we're
Yeah.
like, righto, babe, next fish,
Yeah.
you're on.
Yeah.
So she caught one and it got away, but then the next day she got this thing, and so it was like, because she's feeling a bit crook, and I was like, we got to get this fish on board. It's our food sort of thing. So I'm super excited, right? So the reel just before that, she's laying like it's just me and her. It's about 6:30 a.m. So Jarred's just gone to bed. He's finished his early morning shift. Everyone else is in bed except me and her, and so she's laying down with like her head on my lap up on the fly bridge, and she's like, "Just don't yell at me. Take your time. Go slow. Don't yell at me. You know, I'm a bit fragile." The reel starts spooling. So I jump up. And I'm like, get the fucking belt on! Like, it was spooling so, like, it's the hardest we'd heard it. And then so I, like, run down, kick the boat out, run downstairs, and I, like, put the drag right up to try and slow it down, and it didn't even slow the fish at all.
And these weren't like cheap reels. These were like big trawling reels. I went all out in the States because I knew it was like our food source. Don't want to lose fish. These were like proper trawling deep water.
Like
so
proper game fishing.
Yeah, what bait was on? Like a full
lures.
big ass.
No,
lure.
Plastic lures.
Wow. Dumb fish.
Dumb Delby.
I was just thinking, fuck, man. Because this thing's fucking huge, man.
Oh, yeah. So it spools like it's just running. When I pushed it up and it didn't even slow it. Like normally the marlin would slow down a bit.
Yeah.
This thing didn't even phase it. And I was like, as soon as I did that, I was like, fuck, we're in trouble here.
Yeah.
And then I'm the only one up. Vaz is still fumbling around trying to get her belt on. I'm like, come, babe, you got it. Like, I was like, get the fucking belt on.
Yeah.
Like I was yelling at her, but
Yeah.
I was so excited, but also knew there's a high chance we're going to lose this fish if she's not faster.
Yeah.
So then I'm stomping, like as I'm trying to wind the fish, get any ground that I could. It was doing nothing. I'm stomping my foot because it's right above Jarred's bedroom. I'm like, get the fuck up!
I'd just gone to bed from night shift, yeah.
Like stomping my foot as hard as I could.
Get the car!
Dude, it was exactly like that. So then Vaz finally gets over, starts reeling it. So I then run over, reel the other one in, just as Jarred comes out. He's like, what do you want me to do? And I was like, get up. Quick, get up, and I need you to put it in reverse. We need to start
He backed it off. He backed the engines off, but it was like still reeling. So then I get up and normally always like
how does
marlin and
that
stuff
help?
like that. So you reverse.
Yeah.
You reverse towards the fish,
Yeah.
so you can it stops stripping line.
Yeah.
So like we'd lost it, and we're under motor. I think we would have lost if we were under sail.
Yeah.
But yeah, we lost marlin and all sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Fuck.
So I get back over to the reel, and then I look at it, and it's going down to the last wrap of line. And Jarred's we've just started making ground in reverse, and then start winding it up. And then I was like, Baz, quick, get on, you're up, you know, start going. And to her credit, you know, she's 55 kilos ringing wet.
Yeah.
And feeling like absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
Hasn't eaten or drunk water for a couple of days, and she managed to get this thing on board, like all the way up.
nuts.
It was a struggle, but she got it.
Yeah.
And
I've got the footage of.
Yeah.
yeah, and we get it up, and once we got it up to the boat, it then took us probably like 15, 20 minutes to work out how to get this thing on.
On
Like
board.
we knew how to get it, but we just could, like it was that big.
Yeah.
We finally get the rope around its tail and then trying to lift it up. One of the videos I sent you is like Jarred just lifting it up, and when it starts kicking, Jarred's got like
Yeah.
struggling to hold this thing as it's doing its last kicks.
Pure
and then-
muscle, eh?
Oh,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
it was huge.
We thought it was like maybe 70 kilos, but then looking at fish of the same size, we reckon it's like 100 kilo.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
100
monster.
plus.
Hey,
And is that sought after, the yellowfin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not as much as the bluefin,
Yeah.
but still highly sought after. And dude, the best eating. That fish fed us for. To be honest, I think we've still got some in the freezer.
Wow.
yeah. Yeah.
So is there a timeline for this whole trip, or is it just
6
like
months.
YOLO? Just
No,
like
so I had to get back in because there's cyclone season in Australia.
yeah,
We
yeah.
went from hurricane season
Yeah,
to
so
the US.
that was my time frame.
Get out,
Like,
before
get
we
out
go.
for hurricane season
Yeah.
and get back in before cyclone season kicks
Wow.
out.
But was that the only thing that was
Yeah.
stopping you? Like
Yeah.
you didn't have to get back for a job or fucking anything like that. You could just
Nah,
could
not
just-
really. So
if you wanted to, you could go right. I have to stay in fucking Indonesia for the next 6 months until I can sail
like I
home,
definitely
if
thought
you wanted to. or-
Yeah, I thought about it, but I like wanted to get the boat rented, and I'd like
yeah.
I've got like sort of own business, so I was like
Yeah.
had to really get back to that, but
yeah.
I was just I was gonna make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like catastrophic would have happened to the boat or something like that for me to like leave it somewhere overseas, because even halfway back you started getting into cyclone area again, so I would have had to leave in a cyclonic area overseas, and the insurance I had overseas said it's not covered no insurance is going to be paid out if it's a named storm or cyclone.
A named storm.
So yeah, named storm. Like if they name it as if like a severe storm,
I'd just be calling up
No
weather
insurance.
stations. Oh man, just leave this one. Non-binary, non-male, non-female storm. It's just a storm.
yeah, I know that was the stressful part. Like just like
So if it's like Cyclone Steve or like Storm
insurance.
Becky,
no insurance, wouldn't get a cent.
They
eh?
change
What a
it by
weird-
letters, hey, alphabetically.
Yeah.
So every time there's a new one,
Yeah, they go
bang,
through the alphabet.
and then just name it. So
wow.
surely they're going to start to get to like weird names.
What? Like,
Like, I
do
don't
they
know.
go A then B or
Yes.
A,
A,
like
B.
Aaron, Adam,
Nah.
just
A, B, C,
and then
D,
start
and
Adam,
Z, and then go
Bianca.
back to A.
Yeah.
So like,
Zion and
yeah, are they gonna get the weird one, weird names?
Storm Zeus.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Man, okay. So how was the surf? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
where
So
all,
I was about to
that's-
say, yeah, where it's like, because
that's
you've
where
gone
all
for
your
this
mates,
surf.
your
Yeah.
mates.
So it was the best part was like, well, Tahiti was just like epic. I've been to once with Nico before to Tahiti to surf, who was one of the guys to jump on. And that's when Kurt and Kelly flew in. So there was like almost, like 7 or 8 boys on the boat.
Yeah.
For this, like,
Tahiti was
stopover.
loose because we had those
Yeah.
guys there, then like fresh guys joining the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
we were
fresh
all
energy.
there for like
Yeah.
a week
Well,
together.
together. So there was like all these boys on the boat. So the boat had like 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, like 4 en suites for each bedroom.
Yeah.
So there was 2 boys just sleeping up on the deck at any one time.
Yeah.
And then we had a couple loose nights. There was a hell trend for the boat, like, like party shirts and pirate rings. So like whenever we went out or we're getting on the piers, we all got these Larry shirts on. I had like
Love
this leopard print shirt and shit. And then they just had Hawaiian shirts. And then when we were in Tahiti, we got these like dirty ass rings. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Oh, wow,
We
that's
all made our
shocking.
own. We had to make it. So you had to buy the ring as cheap as possible, silver. And then we went to pearl farms in Tahiti, the black Tahitian pearls, and picked our own pearls out.
Sick.
And then we just got like this resin glue we had on the boat and just whacked it on, eh?
Yeah.
So there was like there's pirate shirts and party rings. Like that was like the theme of the boat and partying. Eh?
Never
Anytime,
going out and having a good night.
yeah,
Party
yeah.
shirts
Where
and
was it
pirate.
best? Because I've never even thought of Tahiti to be a place where you go out.
Yeah, like partying.
Yeah.
I'd still say Tahiti because there was such a big group of us.
Yeah.
It's always the people you're with. It's-
Yeah,
sure.
exactly. And that sort of thing. Exactly. Like it was the best time. We had a whole crew together.
Yeah.
What language is Tahiti?
French.
French.
Yeah, a lot of the islands are French, sort of like connected and owned, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like even though Tahiti is Tahiti, it's like
It's part of the French Polynesia.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, cool.
But surf like was definitely 2 places of good surf or the whole trip really was Fiji and Tahiti.
Yeah.
So surfed like chopes, like only like sort of head and a bit sort of chopes, just
Yep.
super fun. Couple passes, yeah, just sort of mainly like we were in a marina a lot of the time there because like so many boys like to get in and out, all that sort of stuff. We just stayed in a marina, and then we did take the boat around to the couple of the islands and down a few times, but most time we're in a marina, so we're taking in cars, like all the boys mentioning down to like chopes and all the passes.
Plus, we're
and
having
stuff like
some repairs done there as well.
Yeah,
Being in
right.
the marina
Yeah.
made a big difference.
Yeah,
Sick.
and then Fiji was just like we scored cloud break. It was just like so good. It was like out a late season. I think it was like 8 to 9 foot, like from behind the wave, like solid proper Fiji
just
cloud
nice,
break. It
perfect.
was sick, and I like waited so long. And like one memory is just like this one. I was like, there was like 50 guys in the break, and I just waited my turn to get priority to the peak. Just took a set off. It was like on the inside of like cloud break, just like this perfect arm and barrel, like as far as I could see. And you
Yeah.
just get spat out, and there's a guy on the channel just like hooting. So
Yeah, that's
it's like
sick.
hell memorable times, eh?
So that was the highlight.
It's hard to say. I've tried to think about the highlight.
Yeah.
And it sort of depends which way you look at it. Like just beers on the boys, like the people you met. Like Marquesas was the first. Like Marquesas was probably a highlight. It didn't even have any surf. It was meant to. We hunted for it, but couldn't find any. But that island was
What's it called? Marquesas.
Marquesas. So it's the first island. The longest crossing we did was 20 days at sea. That was from Galapagos. So you go Panama, Galapagos.
So you went to the Galapagos.
Yeah, Galapagos Islands. Yeah.
sick.
Yeah, it was pretty sick. Saw all the tortoises and stuff like that. We definitely wore the party
So do
shirts
you-
a few times.
Well, I was going to say, what's it go there? Like, is it because it seems such a like
Nature.
yeah, and it's just fucking isolated.
It
and there's
is,
nothing
yeah.
going on.
So
Like, is
it's-
there
and
tours or is it
yeah,
like
heaps of tours.
Yeah.
It's cheap because it's part of Ecuador. You actually have to like, if you fly there, you got to go through Ecuador to get out there.
Yeah.
So it's actually surprisingly cheap because of the Ecuadorian currency and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
But it's like mecca for wildlife sort of thing. Like
Yeah.
all those old turtles and stuff like that, and all the old school sailors that used to come that way used to stop there, load up on turtles. They used to put about 100 of these guys. And because they're used to starving for almost 6 months of the year, they didn't have to feed them on the boat. So they'd slowly eat these turtles over their big crossing of the Pacific.
Probably fucked a few of them as well, I reckon. 100%.
Is that also where, I could be fucking way wrong, is that the last known location of the dodo? The Galapagos Islands? Or is that?
I thought the dodo was New Zealand, wasn't it?
Oh, I can't remember. I could be talking shit. But I know it's a mecca for wildlife. But snorkeling, diving and stuff, is that something that's good there?
They do a lot of diving and stuff there. But I didn't really do that much stuff there. We're only there for about 5 to 6 days, I think. That's where we pick up Micho. Micho jumped on there. He flew in for the big crossing, the 20 days at sea.
Fell over in the shower.
So what's that like?
What do you mean? Fell over in the shower.
Micho fell overboard. He was the only man to fall off on the thing, and that was like coming.
Fell overboard.
Overboard. Fell off the yacht. Yeah,
but he also fell in the Galapagos before they got there. He fell over in the shower.
Like drunk or like?
No, in the morning.
He was getting up to go and do a tour. He's like, the boys are going to be another day. I'm going to go and do a tour, get out and see a bit. So he's in the shower in the morning before he went out and slipped over. Glass screen shattered everywhere.
Oh my
had to get stitches in his finger or his foot or something.
Something like that, yeah.
He got all busted up. But we sort of looked at that as the hat trick of events. So it's my toe, Julie's toe, and then Micho's. So we're like, hopefully that's the hat trick.
What? How'd he fall overboard?
We caught him like a dragon, like a dip. So pretty much when we're under sail and we want to swim, we'd grab onto the ladder at the back and just drag behind the boat. And because he
slowly lower into the water.
Yeah, and because he's like cut himself up and had stitches, he wasn't allowed to swim or shower for like most of this 20-day trip, right? Man. So we pretty much got to the end of it. And
you just didn't want him to use the shower again.
So I think it was like day 17 or something like that. And we had some pretty rough weather and it cleared out. And so we're like, all right, we can drag again. And we wouldn't let it happen when it was like big seas and stuff. Because if we did this happen, if this exact thing happened, you wouldn't find it, mate.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of nowhere. And once you get like 50 meters from the boat and there's like all the seas and wind and stuff like that, you lose sight of them. Once you lose sight of them.
Yeah, fuck.
Because you got to drop the sails, turn around and come back. Like it's a fair bit of distance. Like he ended up being a couple 100 meters from the boat. It's like even in the good weather, it's like really on the verge of my comfort zone.
Because he was ponging, you're like, get in. You need to get
so he pretty much just dropped in too fast, too keen, too fast, dropped in, almost didn't even grab the ladder and just slipped in, just jumped in the water. And me and Nico were on the inside, and it was just Ricky Cover was on the outside, and he just yells, "Man overboard!" But he yelled it really laughing, like he was losing his shit laughing because at Micho's face as he's like fear of death slipping away from the boat.
Yeah.
And so like me and Nico look at each other, I was like, I better go check. Man, I thought he was joking. As we're walking out through the back doors, I can see Ricky, and he says it again. He's looking out the back, and I look out the back to Micho, trying to swim after the boat. We're under sail, which is like sort of the worst. Under motor, you can just stop it and just like turn around. But under sail, so we pretty much got to like run upstairs, drop the sails as fast as we can, and then turn around and come back on him.
That would make my heart sink, man. Were you stressed or were you like, it's okay?
I was like, it's okay because it's good weather. Like it was pretty nice weather. But as we were sort of getting to the further limits of where we actually got to turn and drop the sails, it was getting on my comfort zone for sure. Like, because any further, you would have like really
lose sight.
Yeah, that's it. So he was
current tides.
He was a little bit. I think I remember a couple of yells or something like that, but not like panic yells. He was pretty cool, calm, collected about it all. But yeah,
that scares
Tell
you.
my mama love her.
Yeah, fuck.
Any shark encounters?
Only
whales
fish.
or like?
Yeah, saw whales. Definitely saw whales. Saw killer whales coming in Great Barrier Reef. Saw a pot of killer whales.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Just like standard sort of humpbacks, blue whales.
But a blue whale?
Yeah, off Tahiti. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So were they breaching or like?
Yeah, breaching.
Just fuck.
Yeah.
And do they breach forever? Because were they massive?
Massive, but they didn't like go all out. Like it wasn't like huge launches out of the water. It was more like flapping.
Yeah.
So
I was actually in a boat filming these guys surfing because Tahiti. I just got back and I couldn't quite swim or surf because my toe was still a bit busted up. So I just jumped in one of the boats to go out and film them doing a bit of a surf, like as the sun's going down, got some sick photos. And then as we're about to peel out and come back in, he's like, the guy driving the boat goes, "Oh, whale," scoots over. And then he just starts whistling. Like I've been around Wales a lot, but just with work and shit. Just clarify that.
Delby was waiting to butt in. I'm sorry about leaning forward.
But he just pulls his boat, like gets out a bit, pulls up and just starts whistling.
I was actually going to keep this a secret because I don't want people whistling in Wales the boats and shit. But go ahead, Kurt, tell everybody.
So then Jarred came over to the boat and I got him on board. It was a good time.
That's sick.
Like the whale changed direction and came at us. It was absolutely
Did it a couple times.
By whistling.
But, so
I can't whistle either.
That wasn't the whistle. That wasn't the whistle that he did. By all means, guys, give it a go.
The secret whale whistle.
But dude, it was spectacular.
That's
Couldn't believe it because you're watching it sort of go that way, and then it's just come straight at us.
Because they, well, they do have different meanings behind their clicks and their whistles.
Yeah,
right? That's awesome.
But so when you're setting on this 20 days of just ocean, that must be scary in itself. Because like you look at when we had John Elliott on with the camels, and he's like 7 weeks walking across a desert with no reception, no nothing, no lights.
Closest human was the International Space Station.
Yeah, so I think we had the same thing. Closest point where we were to someone was the International Space Station, like in the middle of that, like. But you weren't all alone. There was heaps of illegal fishing Chinese boats out there.
Really?
Fuck.
Wow. Especially as you're getting closer to Marquesas, like French Polynesia, like there was just long lines in these boats, like people speaking Chinese. And I'm not nothing against them.
Yeah.
But if it's illegal, I'm against illegal fishing.
Yeah.
That's
all.
so depressing as well. Like,
yeah.
People think that it's something being done. Yeah. But you just
that's the international law thing I was talking about before. We read this book on the boat, and he was an international reporter, investigative reporter sort of thing, and all he did was went on boats and investigated like the slavery that's on them and stuff like that. It's like all these, it's like 5 short stories of the different adventures he'd been on. I wish I could remember the name of the book, but it was wicked. We're reading it on the book, and it was like hostage situations, like basically slave labor in all these like fishing camps and stuff like that, to the point where they wouldn't go back to shore. They keep them on the boat for years, and then they send the fish back in other boats and supply them so that they can't run away.
That's fucked.
Yeah, it's pretty hectic.
That's what they used to do in Sydney. There was a pub where they would drug the people in the pub.
Yeah.
Put them on the boat.
Yeah, that's exactly one of the stories because they come from, I think a lot of them come from Thailand looking for work and stuff like that. And then they transition them across the border, and then they basically just kidnap them from there.
Yeah. I've read that exact article or something similar to the same sort of story. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Hey, I thought it was more Thailand, but that's sick. Yeah, well, not sick, but like
it's crazy. Yeah, that it still happens. But in terms of 20 days at ocean, like there was 4 of us on the boat at that time. Like it was me, Micho, Nico, and Ricky.
Ricky Kovic.
Hey? Yeah.
It's random. I know him. That's good.
Let's not go there. So and it was like you think 4 people, but they're like such legends on the boat that like felt like there was like so many more people. Like there was never a boring moment. Like there was always something to do, like playing cards, poker, like cooking up a storm, talking shit. We had a routine, like sunset on the front deck, just like watching the sun go down, having some, not everyday drinks, but just having some drinks. Like,
It must be pinch yourself moments sometimes. Or not pinch yourself. You guys have done it. Like, it's not luck. You've created this situation where you're able
still
to
pinch yourself. There's so many times where you're like, this is so sick. I can't believe we're doing this.
Yeah.
Who gave us this boat?
So
what are we doing now?
Was it sad coming into Queensland then because the journey was finishing, or were you ready for it to finish?
Oh, the opposite, Like, it's the most stressful holiday I've ever been on. Like, being responsible for the boat.
Yeah.
Like, such a high price figure on this boat. And then also, like, people's lives literally depending on you. Like as the captain, like, it's like huge, It's huge. So, I was, like, so ready to get off the boat and give it to the charter company and just almost like offload that responsibility for like 6 months of just like looking after this thing, making sure just like constantly consuming yourself like every day, every night. Like you'd wake up, like if anyone had a problem on night shift, like come get me up, and or any storms coming and stuff like that, like they'd come get me up, or like I'd just wake up if I felt the wind change and stuff like that. Like you just get on edge. Like
who was on it when you got back to Queensland? Were you both on there, or was it just you?
No. So Kurt was obviously on from Tahiti onwards, and then flew. Well, Mum and Dad flew in New Caledonia.
Sick.
And we finished the trip as like family.
Listening to some hard yarns.
Yeah, that's it. We threw it. Well, Kurt threw on the
Robin Cook?
podcast. Yeah, that's it. And parents loved it.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's good. It was
Shout out. We are hopefully teeing up with him next month for the solar eclipse.
You mentioned it on that one too about up at Exmouth.
So we followed
through on that.
Finally followed through with something we said. Yeah.
Did you get accommodation? Because I think you guys saying it's like so overbooked.
Yeah,
it's
no,
crazy.
we're
swagging in one of Squirrely's mates' backyard.
Sick.
So I don't have a swag, so I don't know what I'll do.
Show on the 18th in Coral Bay, 19th Exmouth, then check out the solar eclipse and drive back.
So what's next then? If you love the challenge,
would you do it again? Is there
adventure.
something next? Would you do it again?
Yeah.
I think like circumstantially, if we can do it, we're going to look at going to the Med.
Yeah.
Buying the boat in the Med, but instead of sailing it all the way back, we'll just spend a month or two in the Med on the boat.
Yeah.
And then just put it on a container ship and send it back.
Rather
than doing the trip
and maybe
itself.
not all the way back, like get it to Asia somewhere because you can
Phuket,
ship
I think
it. Yeah, ship it. It's a main of shipping, so it's cheap. It's actually like pretty cheap to get them shipped.
Yeah,
so
right.
And then I'll
shipping
pick it up. Shipping a ship, exactly. and then sort of pretty much get it there and sort of
and then do the surf trip down.
Surf trip through like the Mentawais and.
So is it now something you're looking at going, right, this is a business, we're going to buy yachts and then charter them out?
Are you going to have
just
Moggridge yachterage?
No, we're just sort of doing it for fun, basically. Another trip. Yeah, another trip sort of thing. Hey, because I want one we want one here to use. Right now it's in Airlie Beach for a couple of years. So yeah.
So you want another one. So it's okay. I see. So it's not just
a smaller one or a bigger one?
Yeah.
Or the same?
About the same.
There we go.
About the same.
Delby just showed me that picture before. It's fucking baller.
Yeah,
like maybe when we do the pre-roll, we should establish that this is a fucking baller. This is sick.
Yeah, it was all. But that's why we got so many responses to the advert as well. Like they're used to like these rickety ass yachts, like life trap things getting put up, and then we get like this like hell nice, like pretty new yacht, and it's like they've got their own ensuite and stuff like that to come on. So it's like
fuck.
Yeah, that's it going through the last canal.
Sick.
But this one just reminds me before we finish up, this will pique your interest.
Went to NASA.
Yeah.
Just a couple of psychonauts.
Not a couple, one. I never knew my brother was into any spaceship until we're flying into Florida and the person in front of him was like, oh, what's that, Mum? And Kurt's like, it's such and such. This place. And I was actually like, don't listen to him. He talks so much shit. But he was actually right.
Yeah. It was a pure guess, though, to be fair.
Yeah.
I thought I was leading on, but I was like, it sort of does look like NASA.
So it was NASA.
Yeah, it was.
Did you go in? Or
Yeah. So we went and did we actually watched
SpaceX launch.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Which was pretty cool.
Oh, sick.
What isn't that's Elon, isn't it?
Yeah.
SpaceX?
SpaceX, yeah.
And why is he working with NASA, or is that just same
They
area?
are. So they're doing stuff, launching rockets and satellites and shit with NASA as well. But the one we watched was the SpaceX, the satellites for all these.
Oh, yeah.
Starlink. I think he was launching 110 or
something
50
like that.
odd satellites.
That's sick. Did you do a tour and stuff, or was it?
Yeah, went and did it all. It was a really good day.
Yeah. Kurt had a ball. He got us up like crack ass of dawn. Yeah. I mean, like crack ass of dawn. And if we're like at the front gate, it's not open yet. I'm not joking. We're waiting out the front. Waiting out the front of NASA for the front gates to open. Yeah. We get in, park the car, then wait for the gates to the amusement, basically the amusement park to open. And then we get in and have to wait for the buses to take us to the launch area.
Yeah.
The waits were like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, right.
But
not like the Fort Lauderdale waits.
No, not at all. But we found out about it by another captain that was he had his yacht in getting some work done, and he's like, dude, we went and watched a space launch. You should go. It's actually really cool. We're like, oh, that's actually not a bad idea. There's one happening in 10 days. We're like, if we're still here, we'll go and do it.
Yeah, cool.
And we did, but I was fucking with Jarred a little bit. He was a bit tired. It's about an hour and a half drive up. So we've left a bit early. So as we're driving up, he's giving it these, like brake checking him. We get out the front and I start calling my missus because I hadn't spoken to her in a couple of days. So I'm calling Vaz. He's just having a nap in the car.
Yeah.
And then there's like I don't know what it is about that area, but there was heaps of planes with chemtrails. And so I was like, oh, I'll fuck with him here.
Yeah.
So I filmed it going past, and then I went in and showed him. I was like, oh, look, Jarred, this is they've just done a test rocket. To check the conditions that it's safe to launch, and he's watching. He's like, "Oh, that's fucking sick."
I was like, "Leave me alone."
And then afterwards, I'm like, "It's just QF06 to Perth." On a flight flying over.
Oh fuck! How good.
That was so good. It was a pretty good trip.
Sick.
All right.
That's a good little story.
Yeah.
A good 2.5 hours.
Sorry, one last thing.
Nah, mate,
Sorry,
fucking
one
you.
last thing. It was actually about someone else along the trip. On the 20-day crossing,
Yeah.
we overheard on the radio this solo paddler. He was paddling from South America all across the Pacific. He's from Queensland. I think
Branch's next challenge.
Yeah. So we actually heard him over talking to a sea container. So we could only hear the sea container side of the story. And he's in the open water, in the middle of nowhere, paddling this kayak thing.
What the
fuck? I know, right? We thought we were gangsters for like doing this mission. And he's doing it in a kayak across the Pacific. And so, yeah, his name is...
that means he's sleeping.
Tom. Yeah, sleeping, eating...
In
everything.
that position, like almost the whole time.
It's like a big sort of rowboat, maybe. I think it was maybe like 20 foot or something.
Yeah, right.
But it was like TomRobertsonBoats.com. He actually spent 5 months at sea solo because the currents pushed him too far north of Tahiti. Yeah. Gangster. And he's not that old dude. He's like a like younger sort of dude, like maybe teens, like 20s or something like that. We heard the conversation with the just one night, just on the radio, like always have it on, obviously. And the sea container ship was like, he was like, "Who are you? We can see your AIS," which is like the locating beacon. Like when you get in the radio contact, it's like you can see their GPS location. So he was going, "Where are you? I can see your AIS. Are you okay?" Because he can see the AIS, but no boat there. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm a kayaker. I'm just paddling across." And that dude's like, "You're nuts, mate." Like, he's like basically like, "Do you need anything? Do you need medication? Do you need water? You're good." But then just like basically chatting guys at sea, just like.
Can you imagine? Like you get flown off course for 5 months, bro. Like he's on the water for 5 months.
On the water, on his own, paddling.
What if you haven't prepared for that, man?
Well, yeah, exactly. I don't know how we got through it or like all that sort of stuff, but it's fundraising as well. So I'd give him a shout out to check his website out. And
Tom Robinson?
Yeah, Tom Robinson Boats. Okay. That's his website.
Robinson Boats.
Fuck.
Yeah. He could be a good guest for future.
Yeah, but he's stuck. He's stuck because he slightly delayed in cyclone season, so he's stuck still overseas somewhere until the cyclone season finishes.
If he's smart, he's
going
to
to kick
use
on.
a cyclone to go 5 months.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah.
I wonder if he tips, is he done for? Or would there be a riding mechanism?
Don't know, man.
Yeah,
don't know. Ask him.
Fuck. All right.
Well, just like your trip, our camera has gone off, so that's perfect timing.
Yeah.
But yeah, fucking awesome.
Thanks for coming on.
Good little episode. Great. Not
Try
little
not to
episode.
kill yourself.
It's a bit of an epic, but fuck, it was really. What's the word? It keeps you engaged.
Yeah.
The whole story. So yeah, that's fucking awesome, man. Cheers for coming on.
Thanks, boys.
Cheers for having us.
Cheers.